So good.
I'll be making sure to mute myself because I'm right off of a street. So if you guys hear any cars and stuff, just remind me to mute my mic.
It's fine. It's all happening. I just get so excited when all of the stuff works, like the YouTube, the Zoom, to YouTube.
So magical.
It's magical. I don't know how these things work. They do.
Because I'm right off.
Let me see. Let's give this a second. Hi, Charlie. You're going back to back today, aren't you?
Yeah, just finished another show with Pastor Henry Hildebrand. It's a great show with L. Bradley.
Nice. I'm excited to see that one. Did you guys do it live? I didn't see it, but I also didn't look too hard.
No, L. I don't think L has done a live show yet. So
she'll get to it. She's so lovely. I've loved my time with her. I had a couple shows with her. She's really great. Great energy.
yeah.
All right, looks like we are live. We did it. All the people in the chat, give us some high fives. I'm so excited when I get this sorted out, all by myself without Justin.
We love you, Justin.
We love you, Justin. It's such a miracle. So grateful to be here with these two gentlemen today and talking about the tree of Christ. And I just love the way you've spelt it. I love this topic. Charlie, thank you for initiating this and kind of pulling out this wisdom from our beautiful brother here, Mr. Amber the Remembrancer. Namaste. Woohoo! Such a privilege to be with you. I've missed you. I love how you are. I just love everything.
Oh, I love you, Marie. I love you. I cherish you. I love you too, Charlie. Oh, it's such a pleasure to be with you guys and everyone watching live. This is super exciting. I appreciate Charlie picking out my love of writing in my notebook and throwing out this invitation to build what we see as virtuous as we come into these times when we're really having to curate more the energies around us.
Yeah, Charlie's good at that. He likes to, can see our talents and kind of bring it out and just shine that light out there, because it's important for people like you, Amber, Remembrancer, to be sharing, because you have such a fountain of knowledge and you've done such incredible work on yourself. And I know just a bit about your journey, and it sounds like it's been a 7-year one, and the depth of this, friends in the chat and all of you guys who are going to watch this, you have no idea the level this guy is playing at. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's mind-blowing. It's next level. When I grow up, I want to be just like him. It's like it's really, really cool. And it's super inspiring. And it's definitely catapulted me in my life and the life of my family to a whole nother dimension of just awareness and attention of how we exist in this reality. And it's really beautiful to be with you. And I'm so excited to just dive right in and to really be the listener, to ask questions that I think that most people like me want to know. And Charlie, you too, you guys just chime in. I want it to be a free flow show, and just a lot of gratitude that you've kind of come into my reality. It's been such a blessing. Yeah, such a divine, like the divine hand is definitely involved in this family. So what a gift. And look, I showed you guys earlier, I showed him my grape juice.
My favorite.
Who would ever drink wine again if you could drink grape?
I know. Can you just imagine if all the wineries became juiceries? Let's say when they become juiceries.
18 months from now, that would be amazing. But like, yeah, grape juice. Who would have known? And I stuck them in the freezer just for like 10 minutes so they were super cold, and like just tripping out on grape juice. It's so good. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a reason all those Greco-Roman gods are just chilling back on those reclining sofas eating grapes. It's because they're eating from the divine, straight from the vine. It's the best. And grape is one of the rare things that actually cleans the lungs. So it's really great for that. And just for everyone who is watching right now, if you could click the link in the description, we want this to be a little bit interactive. You'll see a link that's going to take you to holarchy.cc to the Tree of Christ show notes / rough outline. And there's a lot of information in there, and that will just help this be more of a engagement rather than passive infotainment, because, you know, I've been there, we've all been there. We go to people like Charlie and Marie for relief and to remember to breathe and to relax. And while we do that, we can also be engaging. This link that's in the description notes has a link to a video about Christic geometry that you're not going to see anywhere else. There are no other videos about Christic geometry as far as I've seen. It is one of the most occulted aspects of this reality from the research that I'm getting into. There's also some pictures that we'll be referencing, and we will be doing screen sharing. So if you're just watching this and you can't get those links for whatever reason, fear not, we will supplement to the best of our ability. We'll be talking about the Tree of Christ, the Tree of Life, the Essene Tree of Life, the Egyptian Tree of Life, where the Tree of Life is mentioned in the Bible. And I'm excited to talk to Charlie about the alphabet and how it relates to this tree, and where the alphabet comes from, and basically spiritual sutures for mending the fissures in this age of the fishermen that we are all going through. Because as we know, it's these fissures where the tissue becomes weak in the body, mind, or spirit that the parasites are then invited to dwell within and make a home. And so this is about some techniques and tools and perspectives to help mend back to the state of wholeness, and to ultimately invite people to pick up on this new art form, because I think what we want in Christic geometry is what's being presented to us in the popularized sacred geometry. But sacred polarizes one down to the sacrum, whereas the Christic polarizes one to the heaven of the head. And that's the general difference. The first link you'll see is the 1.5-hour video all about that, very in-depth, about how the sacred geometry is the binary system, Christ is trinary. Right now we're in a false binary of degeneration and generation. Just look at people's understanding of sexuality. They can either generate new life, or they can degenerate by putting their seed into a condom and then putting that in the toilet. And then, like it says, as some people say in the Talmud, as it says, or some other books, that Christ is boiling in excrement. That would literally are putting their sacred fluid in condoms and flushing that down the toilet. And so this is an invitation to reclaim our role in the position we find ourselves in, and move to this trinary where regeneration is introduced, because sexuality, our energy, is also regenerative. That's what the Chrism oil is about. And that's what we'll be getting more into today. And so, yeah, I'd love to just say hello and I love you to Charlie, and allow him to speak, and then start talking about what Santos is doing and talking about right now, which is this new word for a lot of people, which is called the akari, ACARI. This is a taxon of mites and things that can live inside the body that dwell. It's kind of like a subset, the very subset perhaps, of the parasite class. And Santos is talking about that. And we'll get into a little bit more of that once we hear from Charlie, and also just keep it organic. The show notes are just a rough outline, but everyone, welcome to this exploration of the Tree of Christ.
Beautiful, fantastic, wonderful to be here. This is going to be Remembrancer's presentation. I'll chime in whenever I'm asked to, but it's just going to be a very, very special show. It's very important because it's you, and remember, everything about this journey of ours relates to the Ouroboros, and the whole point is is that there are two bulls. The Bible is the Old and New Testament. So that is the lower and the upper Ouroboros. And most people don't even realize that they have an upper Ouroboros. They're only dealing with the lower O. So you're a zero in your life. You've got nothing going on for you. You got no oil in your lamp. You have no good luck, because all of that stuff is here, and you're only existing in the one O. And you owe. You're a debtor. You've got no credit. You've got nothing going for you in your life until you get the second O. And then this is the tree of life, or the tree of Christ, which is the X. X marks the spot. And this is, see, again, all these words are verbs. The Bible, where they've got it wrong on purpose is that they see the Bible, teach the Bible as something that is static, and that it's a noun, and therefore it's something to hold, to buy, or or to put on a mantle on your home. But don't turn it to a verb. That the Bible is meant to be a verb. It only comes to life if you do it. If not, it's dead words on a dead page. And this is the sacredity of the tree of Christ is the X. X always marks the spot. And then that is taking the two O's, which is the 8, and making it into a working 8. And that's what has to happen. So this is magnetism, the scalar wave. And that's why, the mother only rises with the child, because that's what's necessary. Christ consciousness must rise. So the mother always rises with the child. And then there's the verb of magnetism. This is the verb of the Bible. And this is the whole point to the Bible, is the Old Testament to the workings of the New Testament, is turning the separate O's, the two bulls, or the two Ouroboroses, and making them connected into the eternal 8. And then that eternal 8 is everything. And then what is the heart and soul of the Ouroboros? What you put in is what you get out. And if you put shit in, shit is what's going to come out in every aspect of you. Like, it's so funny now, when Remembrancer and I, when we hear Marie talk, it's just, you just see her coming so alive and so awake and so aware. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe how badly people smell now. I'm really conscious of how people smell, and they just smell. That's right, because they put shit in, shit comes out, and they stink. They stink to high heaven because you put shit in, you get shit out. And it works for thought as well. You put shitty thoughts in, you get shitty thoughts out. And that's the whole point of this, is take no thought for your life. And ultimately, we don't have to take any food for our life either, because we're pure energy. So if you know how to breathe properly, then there is no need for any kind of food. Food is just all part of this little game that we play along the way, the journey along the way. And that's what's happening. And by the way, that's the same thing with all of your food. You get to a point with your food, it's like, well, I was still doing coffee for a certain part, but I couldn't do it anymore because my body just wouldn't allow me. And now I look back at it and I go, I can't even believe I drank that stuff. And I used to have this, but that's what happens along the way. It becomes less and less and less and less. And then before long, there's just you, Remembrancer, Jesus, and God. And that's all that's left on the journey. Everything else is just cast off along the way, because we don't need possessions. We don't need possessions. So that's what's going to be incredible today. The tree of Christ, the tree of life, is this verb, is this action that is within you that is going to unite the lower bowl, the red bowl, with the blue bowl and turn it into the eternal 8, which is magnetism. That's it. Let's do the show.
So beautiful and so true on possessions. They are called possessions because they end up possessing us. And I've gone through this just as much as everyone else, of just accumulating all this weight. And then you have to wait to make large change is because you're carrying all this weight around. And I don't know if anyone knows who really promoted this whole idea of innerstanding, but it comes from Savan Bomar of the Innerstanding channel. I had the pleasure to be with him in Costa Rica in 2016 and prepare some food for him and his wife. And, you know, I love when he points out, like, you are everything. So if you were to get something, where would you put it? Because if you try to add to what is already whole, you're just going to run into the paradox of materialism, which is that they are all mirrors saying that you're not enough. But as we come into this embodiment, you know, I was talking to Santos that this process of raising the Chrism oil, when it's talking about the helm of salvation, it's literally talking about the crystallization of your skull. This is why this is the most occulted part of the reality. This is why the most constant expression for people being emotionally overwhelmed is saying the name JC in a feeling of exasperation, not knowing that they are diminishing themselves, because everyone is a seed of, not everyone is a tree of Christ, but everyone is a seed of Christ. It is just a question of, are you going to cultivate that seed and bring that forth into expression? And what you'll see in the video linked below is that the mystery of these 13 crystal skulls, 13, there's that number again. The mystery is this mist tree of the vagus nerve, which is the tree of life that has now been the found tree. It's no longer mist anymore. We found it. It is a MYS tree because it is the fire initiation. Because when you're doing this tantra and this breath work, when you're adding the heat and the breath, you are raising the oil, which is a hydrocarbon. So you, with your breath and the heat of your body, that's the fire, that's the air. And then the oil is the water and the earth. That's the tetragrammaton. And as we're going to see in the found word, not the lost word, the lost word is the word for when you're lost. And that's, and I know this is going to offend people. And I ask you to expand your curiosity and just entertain this without believing it's true, if this goes against a core belief. Because this also goes against a core teaching that the Essene High Priest of the Order of the Blue Rose in Oregon is teaching, which is that the tetragrammaton is Yod He Vav He. But what we're going to explore today is that last He is actually a Chet. And that Chet is the daughter Earth. And by removing the Chet to the He, which is the brother air, we have been removed from the earth. That is alchemical magic for not being grounded and not observing this goddess that we are all kissing with our feet or ignoring with this insulated rubber and not being grounded at all. So what I want to talk about today are spiritual sutures that are to mend these auric, these mental and these physical trauma that we all have. And what I want to put forth is that Christic geometry is a magical, artistic, alchemical sigil resonance for this mirroring of wholeness. And then the pronunciation of the found word, Yah-ha-wah-ha, is also a mantra, magical medicine that for me, I cannot even tell you how much this has changed my journey, how it has been this pillar, this rock and foundation in my own life of making these transitions and also pinging up the energy. Because when I say Yah-ha-wah-ha, I feel at the last ha, a spike of energy from my sacrum to my crown. And so it is the sacred, which is the earth, through the water of the belly, through the fire of the solar plexus, through the air of the heart, all the way up to these Jupiterian Jesus epicenter of the third eye. I feel that. And so it is a way to ankh the energy. To ankh is to raise the energy. It's to be your own bank. This is how we store our treasures in the heaven of our head, is raising this chrism oil, is storing that essence in the skull, which is a reservoir for this energy of life. And as we decrypt all of these things, we are literally taking the death out of our reality and the resonances that we're making. And I'm just gonna pass it over real quick. Oh wait, okay, it ended. So to decrypt is to take out the death. And what you realize sooner or later is that a lot of the cultures are pushing death in one form or another. Satan is to say 10, the number 10. They want you to say 10 because 1 + 0 is 1 again. And then you start all over in this lemniscate 8 of reincarnation, not knowing who you are. But this Christ, this Christic energy is the 9, that's the divine. It's not the tree of life because life implies death, always. Christ implies immortality, and that's why the distinction is important. Because we are decrypting, we are taking out the death, which means we're also taking out the life, which is the lie. Lie is in life for a reason. Life is a file. But you don't want a part. You don't want peace. You want the whole thing. You want the wholeness. It's like we talked about with the algae's rune. You flip up that peace symbol, it forms the W for the wholeness. We all want that. We want the whole cake. We want our cake and to eat it too. We were meant for this infinite bliss of energy. And what I've been learning from Santos is that these akari are a foundation of black magic in the reality. What is essentially happening is etheric tears are being formed in the mind, body, and spirit through the 440 hertz, through the acidic foods, through the acidic thoughts. And, you know, I couldn't find this yesterday, but I know all of you have probably experienced the same thing of you can't really find the same things online anymore. The internet is changing. It is being heavily curated. And I remember I found, because I was looking sound as a form of creation, and I looked at the scientific study that said they could create these akari, which is just a taxon for mites. It's just a type of mite. They could create akari with resonant frequencies. So the reason the Spanish flu happened when they started introducing radio, the reason, you know, this whole COVID-19, which, you know, co is together and then vid is video. That's the co-vision. That's the dualistic vision of the 19, which is the AI. 1 is the first number A, or first letter A. 9 is I. So COVID-19, all that is, it is a simulation for AI to learn more about people when they face crisis, so that it can enact this Hegelian problem, reaction, solution, Hegelian dialectic of the duality. And what it's essentially doing is that it knows the resonant frequency of these akari or these parasites, whatever you want to call them. And so the magic of radio is that it is literally permeating everyone, and even the Wi-Fi. No one understands what Wi-Fi stands for. If you look up Wi-Fi, they don't tell you what it means. It's a mystery. And I just want to apologize for the audio. I had to go to a new place today. So if you hear things, and if you need me to tap out because it's too noisy, just wave your hand and this too will pass. But this is the magic, okay? Even the resonant frequency of your refrigerator can be weaponized. The humming of a fan can be weaponized. Because if that is at a frequency that is dissonant to the 432 hertz field that you are built on, it's going to open up a tear or an opening in your aura in which these akari can be incubated. Perhaps, I'll cut.
No. I was just like, wow. Like that was.
Yeah. It's spicy. Spicy.
It's spicy. Those peppers used to eat. I was like, yeah, go for it.
You're looking at Russian Russian documents of scientists talking about how the spring bed is weaponized. It's designed to be played off of these cell phone towers and even these dissonant frequencies as amplifiers of the dissonance. So the most nuanced things in your reality, everything is vibration, everything is frequency. And so what we can do now is start listening to 432 hertz music and take that very seriously and playfully, because it's a beautiful play. The original constellations were 48, now they're 88. 88 times 5 is 440. Coincidence or satanic synchronicity? 48 times 9 is 432. 432 plays into these cycles of ages, and even like things like the speed of light, if that's even a real thing. But it is so prescient and liminal in reality. This 432 hertz is just waiting for you to embrace that. Marie can attest, before I eat my food, I play my 432 hertz flute just to bring a coherent resonance and a memory to the food I'm putting in, so that it can also feed my spiritual body. And, people like Mozart and Beethoven, they were playing in 432. This 432 hertz to 440 is a very recent introduction. And, fear not, if you have songs that you like that are 440, there are tools that you can use to shift the frequency to 432. But essentially what we're facing is that these parasites enter by us first resonating with things like the radio, things like, probably the refrigerator and fan, and things that have a humming. They open up the aura for these akari to then come as these kind of astral parasites that then become the mental parasites. And then as those mental parasites are fed, then the physical comes into play. And so you can see more about the akari. You can see the spelling. It's the first part of the link. Below the link, you'll see akari, how it creates frequency fissures. And I just want to really put that out, because if you look at the most recent video I did, which is just a distillation of Santos's amazing work with magnetic healing. If you just go to my channel, you can see I've made a comment in the section below. Check out the video. He talks about Christian the scientist. I love how his name is Christian. He talks about how the root of all these diseases, yes, it's acid, but it also might be these mites. These mites might be pooping, which is creating this acid. So here I've been all these years thinking the alkaline diet, that's the key. That's kind of the cure-all. Yes, it's a part, but the acid itself, that might be a symptom of the primary seeding, which is these akari mites, pathogens, spiders. They call them spiders, Christian does. And so, everything poops and eats pretty much that is alive. So these acids, it literally could just be the acid waste from these mites going to the bathroom. So addressing this on a core level could be a very key element. And, I have a call tomorrow for an hour with the main spokesperson for these healing devices. And I'm going to get the download from him tomorrow on what's going on. They're going to be available soon. But I want to go to him in person, Christian the scientist who's working with Santos, and talk about the importance of adding another, electronic transistor or whatever it would be called, so that the frequency, because look, the electric grid, it's 110 and 220. That's 440. This is not an accident. 440 is 8. 8 is the life and death cycle. That's life and death. The 9 is the divine Christ frequency. So I'm going to talk to Christian. Can we also add something to these magnetic healing devices that moves us from the 110, 220, 440, 8 frequency to the 432 hertz? And can we throw in the Dr. Morse wisdom about kidney filtration? Because even if we are wiping out all these mites in our body, we still need to filter them through the kidneys and get them out of the body. Otherwise, maybe this is the point of Morgellons. Maybe Morgellons is like a legit artificial technology that reassembles the waste product to really kind of make this even a more secure infestation. Because what I see the Akari is the organic AI, and I see the Morgellons as the synthetic AI, and they're trying to create this unholy marriage of these organic and inorganic parasites to lure people into just, you know, being in a matrix pod and just being plugged in to this virtual reality. Like, look how many people, when they're not being looked at, they're just like this. If you were to pay most people just to be in a saline solution, and, you know, this is why it's called YouTube, by the way. That's the whole goal, is to put you in a tube. That's what Neo was, in a tube. He was in a pod. He was in his iPod, in his YouTube, being fed into this archonic structure. And so we need to take this really seriously, because literally most people are being tortured to the point of preferring that reality. Yeah, go ahead, Charlie.
Just to interject, I think this is a really important point to interject in everything that's being said, because if we go too far with regard to these organic and inorganic or synthetic or artificial bots that are attacking us. And by the way, everything living, whether it is AI, they're responding to a frequency, and of course organically they're responding to a frequency as well. And again, organically we have the choice between 440 and 432, 4 plus 3 plus 2 to divine, and 440 is the separation of the 8. I did that huge post on Halloween and what all it represents. And remember when our house was being attacked, and we were attacked a total of 10 times. Remember, that was between those 44 days, that festival of cremation of care actually it was 9 times between those 44 days, and that is the festival of the cremation of care, and that's from August 31st. 3-1 is 4. There's your first 4, and that's 8-4, by the way. August 4th, 8-4, to October 13th. 13-1-3 is 4. So those are the 44 days of the festival of the cremation of care. Everything that they do that is a massive affront to the mother, to caring compassion, and that's why it's the cremation of care, because it's the destruction of the mother. And if the mother is destructed, we don't rise. There's no magnetism, no raising in the world if there's no mother. So they take this very, very seriously, and this is that 4-4, the separation of the 4s. So, all of the stuff that's being said is very, very, very important, and it is rooted in the very essence of creation. And this is what they do. Remember, they don't want to God. So when they hijack this gnosis away from us, what they do is they get lawyers to study all of the scriptures, and then what they're doing is they're just looking to pervert it or to create loopholes, because they don't want to obey it. They're not innocent, they're not humble, they're not virtuous, so there will be no obeying for them. They're Canaanites of the left brain. So they're not looking for the ultimate solution, which is eternal life at the right-hand side of God. They're looking for the ultimate loophole, which is to become so evil that the only receptor that you could come back into is your disgusting, disgusting, shit-filled vessel that you've turned into an abomination, an affront to God and to creation and to the mother. And so there's very little that can hold you, because the natural creation of God is perfection, is beauty, is care and compassion. So it would be in us humans that would be the vessels, wouldn't it? Because we've been bestowed the one thing that others aren't bestowed, and that's free will. So we have the capacity. This is where the sickness of their minds reside, and how deep this sickness is. they have the ability to look at this stuff in cold blood, and look for ways to pervert the perfection and beauty of God's creation. And that's what they've done. And they've seen that the ability of man to possess free will means that if our free will can be polluted, if the well, this is the tree of Christ, is what this is all about, is what kind of well? Do you have a cesspool? Is that your well? Or do you have the fountain of youth? Because the tree of Christ will only rise to the fountain of youth. It won't grow out of a cesspool. It's as simple as that. Like Remembrancer said, you absolutely have the seed of Christ within you. But with your body is an acidic nightmare, the seed dies is back on the cross, and he's never getting off the cross in so many of you. You have to elevate him to the right-hand side of the Father by being in an alkaline state. So what I wanted to talk about, just interject here, very importantly, to fill you back up with an enormous amount of power again, is this. With all of these remembrances, they're organic bots of this, and they can weaponize your TV, and that's another post that got me taken down off of Facebook for the second time. Which war, every single sort of major skirmish or war that existed on the earth tied in exactly to the release dates of new waves that were being transmitted earth-wide. So it started with the Spanish influenza at the end of World War I, and that was the outbreak of radio waves. And that's what happened. And then you go through all of them, the outbreak of television, and then microwaves, every single one of these wars, or some tied into wars, but all of them tied into global pandemics. So these scamdemics, the scandemics were all about these earth-wide unhealthy frequencies that were being unleashed. So it's unleashing hell on earth, because as Tesla said, we're all energy. So we're all frequencies. And so what I want to share with you and empower you is to remember, as you're going through, we'll go right back to Remembrancer here, but as you're going through all of this, remember, alkalinity is not just of the body, it is of the thoughts that you do or don't take, the breath that you do or don't take, far more powerful than the food that you do or take. So food is the start. There's no doubt about it. Food is this building block from which you must grow. You must become wise through the choices you make with your food. It's just ordained this way. It is the way it needs to be through the food. But it's a pyramid, and you're only at the base. And everywhere you go, the decisions that you choose to make are leading you either further away or to that monadic point, to that monadic circle, to that capstone, which is the pineal gland that is activated. And this is what this is all about. Rock and roll music is this godly vibration at 432 hertz, is this the godly teachings of these godly souls, and then it uplifts us and empowers us, and then the furnace, the crucible of the fornix rolls back, and it reveals the chamber of the bridegroom. And then this is precisely what Remembrancer is sharing with you. This is second. This is the crucifixion, and this is the second baptism that must come. So John, Marie, Justin and I were talking about this yesterday. John, or Joanna the Baptist, is very much rooted here. She will only take you so far. And it's an important step to wash away all of the lies of the physical world, the hands of man. but you're not going anywhere until you have the crucifixion and the baptism of fire. Remembrancer was touching on this. What is the average temperature of the human body? There's a reason for everything. This is genius beyond description. The average body temperature in Fahrenheit is 98.6. 9 and 8 is 17. That's a really good number because it is an action number of righteousness. And 98 is 17.6. 17 and 6 is 23. 23, which is this number of death and destruction, and 2 and 3 is 5, and 5 is the crucifixion of your 5 physical senses. That's why your body temperature is always at a normal stasis at 98.6, because it's always trying to help you achieve crucifixion. And the crucifixion is to crucify this island at sea, Venice. What is your brain? Your brain is made up of ventricles. You know what a ventricle is? It's a canal. That's it. It's a canal of the Christed fluid. And the left brain is a circuit, is an electrical circuit, and it's an island at sea. So you'll love this. Your left brain is Venice. Where is the headquarters of the Cabal? The Phoenicians, which are the Venetians, which are the Phoenicians, which are the Canaanites. They're in Venice because it's an island at sea. Your left brain is an electrical circuit that has no connection to the third ventricle, has no connection to the right hemisphere of your brain. It is alone. And when you live there, you are all alone without God, because God and the mother are here. You have to cast your net to the right. They are in a magnetic field. And a magnetic field is holistic. There's no beginning, there's no end, there's eternity, and that's the 8. So if we go quickly here, and then we'll go back over to Remembrancer. But again, if you look at this, this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. So the Ouroboros to the 8, Ouroboros to the 8. If you don't connect the upper and the lower bulls, if you don't connect the red bull to the blue bull, if you don't synthesize the Old Testament and the New Testament within you, then they've got you. This is what Remembrancer is saying, and they can weaponize virtually everything because you're disconnected. You're disconnected. And this is the state of the 8. August 4th, a big day for them. When's Barack Obama's birthday? Oh, just happens to be August 4th. Unless they plan that out of the test tube, I don't know, but it's probably just a fake date. Queen's mother, August 4th. And so these celebrities claim that their birthday is on August 4th. August 4th is the separation of the 8, the 4 and the 4. The 4 and the 4. They got you. What's the 4-4 in the Ouroboros? That's 440. That's the 440 that he's talking about, Remembrancer's talking about, which is the separation of the 8. The whole point of this is to become the pyramid. That's why everything is in this triangle, the Holy Trinity, and the shape of the pyramid, because you're losing your possessions here to get to the singularity of perfection on earth here at the highest point, at the highest point of it all, which is the portal to God, which would be the pineal gland, which is the capstone of the Great Pyramid. So you are the Great Pyramid. And the whole point of the Great Pyramid is to go within into that center room, King's Chamber, Queen's Chamber, activate the furnace and illuminate is energy, right? Again, everything that Remembrancer said today so far, it's all about energy, which therefore is frequency. So you energize this frequency straight up pyramid to the capstone. It capstone, and this is magnetism. So then what does magnetism does? Magnetism is not a wave. That's electricity. Magnetism is a pulse. Electricity waves. Magnetism pulses, where nobody gets left behind the ultimate geometric shape or construction of shapes is the circle, because it's all encompassing. It's all encompassing. That's what a compass is encompassing the whole, the sum of the one, somebody, someone, the sum one. People, we're all someones. Yeah, because we're the sum of the one. That's what this is all about, is that together, brothers and sisters, we are the sum of the one. That's why we're someones. And this is what it's all about. So 432 is a different frequency. It's a natural frequency. So all the things in the world that they want to do to you, like weaponize your fridge or weaponize it doesn't work on you, the children of God, or the Christed one, or the illuminators of the tree of Christ within you. Because if you've become the alkaline man, there's nothing that they can do to you. See, this is how it has to work. Stand about the other teachers in the truth community and the Anunnaki and aliens and this, that. Fuck that bullshit. I'm sorry, but God didn't create us to be fucking victims. We are the pinnacle of creations. If there is such a thing as an Anunnaki, they better run scared shitless of us because of the power that we possess. We don't run and be fearful of anybody else, the Anunnaki and that, 18-foot, 6-ton reptiles that eat men, rape our women, and then they're just brilliant geneticists, and they, genetically alter us children to be slaves unto their will. The fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you for believing this shit? There's God. We fell. You have to get back up. The only is the tree of Christ. Remembrancer is saying, if you separate the 8, you're not rising. You have to create the 8, which is magnetism. And that is that. Let me show you one more thing here that'll just blow you away about this entire process and about these numbers and about everything being a frequency, right? Everything is a frequency. It's about the mother rising and taking the child with her, right? Okay, so what did Remembrancer said? Remembrancer said that 48 times the divine 9, which is the divine 9, which is divinity, 48 times 9 equals what frequency? This is the frequency that is naturally occurring in magnetism. Magnetism is a song, and the natural frequency of magnetism is 432 hertz. It produces 432 hertz naturally. You don't have to do anything to it. It's a tuning fork to God, magnetism, 432. Okay, why 48? Because this is you. This is you. This is the kingdom of heaven. This is your torso. This is the sacrum. This is you. Okay? And you are a cross. You're the fourfold nature. So there's 4 12s. You have the 12 of the north, you have the 12 of the west, you have the 12 of the east, and you have the 12 of the south. These all have to be in alignment. But alignment to what? Well, everything tells us. Your body tells you. You have 12 sympathetic nerves that surround the solar plexus. 12 and 1 is 13. You have 12 cranial nerves, and they surround the third ventricle of the brain, which is meant to become the third. 12 and 1 is third. Sun in the sky, and it's followed everywhere by the 12 constellations. You had Jesus Christ, which is the son of, and everywhere he went, he was followed by the 12. 12 and 1. So what is the whole frickin' point of this? What is the whole point of this fourfold nature in the 12s? 12 in alignment with the one. And 1 is an anagram in itself of Neo, who was in a pod, and he had to be rescued out of a pod to rise again. Neo, 1. And 12 and 1 is 13. So 4 times 12 is what? When you align the 4, north, south, east, and west, you are the 48, which is beautiful because 4 and 8 is 12, and 1 plus 2 is 3. which is the Holy Trinity. And that's the triangle that we wear upon high here. And that's your 9. So the 48 times the 9 is the 432, naturally occurring. And then this is what happens when you have magnetized, and then this is what you get. This is what I was telling you earlier, that the whole point of the Bible is a recipe book. So it's a cookbook. Well, we're supposed to be raw, but you know what I'm saying. It's a book to mix the ingredients. So it's a mixed book, and that's what the Bible is. If you don't mix the Old Testament and the New Testament together, it doesn't do anything for you. They're just dead words on dead pages, and it doesn't mean shit. You have to use it. You have to do it. And in the doing, you become Jesus Christ, the one surrounded by the 12, which is 13. And everywhere that the Mary went, the little lamb was sure to go. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. That's that rhyme. That's that rhyme. That's the eternal 8. That's what this is all about. Here's one more incredible aspect about these numbers and magnetism. When we measure energy, so electricity or magnetism, they have 16 components to a wave. So an electrical wave, you could see it as potential energy as an oscillating wave, and there are 16, okay? And that's the 4 4s. So once again, 4, 4, 4, 4, and there's 16 components to an electrical wave. Even if you want to look at a flowing wave, there's 16 components, 8 and 8, above and below. So no matter how you look at it, electricity or magnetism, it's broken down into 16 components. Now, electric components are completely discordant. 1, 9, 3, 12, 4. It's up and down, and when you connect the dots together, it just makes this discordant line. That's electricity. What does your house run on? Appliances. What are your houses? What do the appliances that are filled your house? Your house is filled with appliances, and they all run on. So you have electrical appliances. Guess what? That's code. That's code for AI. That's for alien invasion. Your home is invaded by aliens because everything is an appliance that eventually ends up owning you, and they all run on electricity. This is accordancy, right? Delta, it's it's just completely beta, unhealthy, discordant waves. Okay, now magnetism has the 16 components as well, okay? And magnetism, again, is this eternal 8. And so then it is the 16 components. So there's 8 above, 8 below, and they unify, all right? So every single component of the 16 components of a magnetic wave all chime out at the same frequency. Guess what the frequency of every single component of a magnetic wave or a magnetic pulse is? 9. Magnetism resonates at a frequency of 9 hertz. So when you look at the 8 and you measure the 16 components from here to here to here, that's 9 hertz. That's 9 hertz. That's 9 hertz. Remember what I said about electricity? It's all over the place. It's all over the place. And you connect the dots and you create this strident line. Magnetism is all 9. It is divine. And guess what? 16 components of 9 equals what? 16 times 9 is 144. Is 144, which is 9. Which is divine, which are the chosen ones, which is the 144,000 sheep or lambs that are wearing the blood of the perfect lamb upon their brow, the mark of God, and that's it. So everything that Remembrancer is teaching you is wonderful, fantastic. Just remember, you are the power of all powers. The only reason that you don't feel like you are is because you've been separated from the truth, separated from God, separate, and therefore separated from yourself. You are what they fear. Appliances should worship you. You don't worship them. You are greater than them because you're a magnetic coil. You're a Tesla coil. And all these appliances are electrical. They're below you. You are above them. So I just want to make this point so clear. You are the light of the world. They all fear you. Just be you. Walk into the fullness of your expression. Be the king of all you survey. Climb the heights of Mount Meru at the North Pole, and every direction is south. And then that's survey is south view. So you're the king of the south view because you're at the North Pole. And that's what this is all about. So again, just remember when you're going through all of this stuff, while all of this is true, and they're doing all of these things, it only works on those who are victims. Don't be a victim. Follow the protocols that Marie is doing, Justin is doing, that Remembrancer teaches, that Colleen and I teach as well, and there's nothing that can touch you. You see, you need to remember, this armor of God doesn't just stop a bullet from a Jesuit that can't stand you because you teach. The armor of God blocks everything, including 440 hertz. So one really quick last thing, in any moment, just juicing, eating grapes, just natural, raw, straight off divine, and that. But here's the one. Remember this in every moment. What are the vowels? There are 5 of them, and they are the feminine. Ah, ah, A is ah, E is A. The letter I is E. O, oo. You have to know the proper pronunciations of this. So as we go through the 5 vowels, this is A, E, O, U. A, E, O, U. And you get really good at it so that when you are chanting, you're creating a frequency. You're creating a magnetic frequency of the mother. These are the 5 frequencies that counteract the 5 physical senses of the physical body. This is how you rise. You rise by counteracting sight and taste and touch and smell. You rise through these frequencies of the mother. A, E, O, U. So you can go, and all of them connect to the M. So when you do the letter A, which is alpha, it's Aum, Eum, Om, Oom. And the M completes the field because the M is the mother, which is magnetism, which is Mary, which is magnetism, which is a holistic field. So it completes the fullness of the expression of each of these, okay? And I want you to notice that the 5 vowels start with the letter A and complete at the U, which creates a canopy above, which is the capstone, and there's your AU, which is gold, AU for gold. When you manifest these into existence through sound, you are overriding any spell that they have on you, any sickness or disease that you have in your body. You want to heal cancer really quick? This is it, because this is perfect alignment. You can't be sick. Disease can't exist within you if you're in alignment. This is alignment. And so you can do them individually. We just did. And when you get really good at it, you just do them all as one. That's the whole point of this. And this is, by the way, this alchemical practice of 5 and 1 and 1 and 5. mastery of the physical five senses by the rising of the mother connecting to the one, which is the father. 5 and 1, 1 and 5. Jim Morrison, The Doors. 5 and 1, 1 and 5. Nobody here gets out alive. That's right. What's your body temperature? 98.6, which is 23. The Punisher, destruction, crucifixion. 2 plus 3 is 5, which is crucifixion. 5. So 5 and 1, 1 and 5, nobody gets out of here alive, because this is the crucifixion. Your body temperature is waiting for you to, and then that's the baptism of fire. But Jesus has to be risen to give you the baptism of fire. So beautiful. So we'll do it back over to Remembrancer, and I apologize, but this is all meant to be empowerment. So when you put them all together, it's magic. And this is pure magic, and this is what it sounds like. I-om, 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 I-om. When you do that frequency, you are literally driving away anything that is unhealthy, that is dividing you. It's connecting the 4s. It's creating the of action of the 8, and this is eternity. So something as simple as this will destroy any and all bots within you. But again, you have to be alkaline of the body, alkaline of the mind. And this is all about frequencies, as Remembrancer is saying. And there's no better way to create the perfect magnetic frequency within you than the exaltation of the mother. Because guess what? This is the mother over the 5 physical senses. The 5 physical senses are your ego. This is the mother, your ego, and she's free. And this is the creating of a ley line. When you put the mother, then the earth becomes these ley lines. And then I don't know for sure, I would remember, answer might be able to shed some light on this geometry. It can only function on these ley lines. and that's the mother rising above the hell ego of the left brain. So sorry for all of that, but it's important stuff. And now back to your regularly scheduled brilliant programming with the Remembrancer.
That was really great. Thank you for all of that. I took
Wow.
so much from that. Yeah. Go ahead, babe.
Just epic and freakishly beautiful. I'm so looking forward to going back over that myself, and especially that part with the magnetic waves really resonates with me. And I want to touch on the point that Charlie has brought up, which is very important, which is that we can tend to get overwhelmed when looking at all this information. And that's why I really wanted to focus on the tree, because a tree can only go so high as the roots can go into the darkness. So just know that every root that I send down, there will be a crown to balance that darkness and the light. Trees are the master of balancing the light and the darkness. And just a few things that I want to roll through before I get back to the alphabet and language is, like so many myths and legends, the greatest ones are actually taking place right now. And that's true for the Anunnaki, which is the Anu no chi. Chi is energy. It's like fib of no chi. Fibonacci is the lie of no energy. Fib is a lie. Anu no chi. Anu no energy. So a new way of tricking people not having energy is for them to mine which is the melatonin. So people are mining their gold by expelling it through the Chrism oil to build planet Nibiru, which that planet is basically this singularity transhumanistic net of their plan. But again, anything we could find in the synthetic, we will find the organic. The organic for the internet is the inner net. And this inner net comes in line once we create the terminal nerve, which is another scientific word for the 13th cranial nerve. And that is your terminal for the Akashic records, which is the original trust verified blockchain Akashic system. So this is why I'm stoked to just get off all the electronics by 2024 when Pluto goes into Capricorn, because I'm excited to quit atrophying my technology and see all of this black magic computer as this mirror to be honored and integrated. But, you know, I've gotten burned enough by touching this fire, and it's time to go to the fire within and build that. So one more thing, you know, touching on what Charlie was saying when it comes to Venice, is that I went to Venice in 2012, and I realized recently that the reason they're so famous for their masquerades and dresses is that mask is the persona. The persona in Greco-Roman theater is a mask. Per is through, and then sona is sound, the hole through which the sound comes through. The dress is the address. So that is the location. So it's the time and space. The time is the crown copyrighted name, Chronos is time, and then the address is the dress of the location, that's space. So that's the mechanics of the space-time mechanics that they're weaving to entrance people. And so it really can be as simple as like, lose the address, lose the name, become timeless, and reclaim this whole place as, you know, what you are here to steward, which is so beautiful. And then I want to touch on this geometry of pi and phi really quick. So, because, you know, Venice ties back into the Vatican. The Vatican has the largest sculpture of a pine cone. The pine cone is the Fibonacci, the lie of no energy. That is the sacred geometry. The head's geometry is pi. That's the circle. That's why your eyes are circles. And what I am calling Kry, K-R-Y, is the Christic geometry is of the heart. And we're going to see that, you know, the phi is 1.618, the pi is 3.14, and then Kry is between those, and it's actually 2. 2 is the swan. You put two twos together, that creates the heart. This doubling, this is why I keep on saying that they are so frightened of this, because the Christic geometry is doubling exponentially, whereas the fib of no chi of the sacred geometry is 1.618. So even one person vibrating at this exponential doubling would quickly, if you look at, you know, how those would graph, would quickly mathematically overtake objectively anyone operating in this hive mind of the AI, because the AI is running on this lemniscate geometry that you can see and that we will see soon at the slide deck that we're about to look at together. So before we go into the Christic geometry, I just want to draw people's attention to the slide deck that we have for today of sorts. So Marie, can you see this? Is that coming through clear? Okay, great. So we've gone through the akari, we've gone through the spiritual sutures. By the way, sutures comes from sutra. Sutra actually means suture. So the reason they would be reciting these sutras, these proverbs, is because they're literally stitching back the wholeness into the vessel. And as frequency expresses itself as color, sound, and shape, the spoken word is the sound, the written word is the shape or geometry, and this feeling that we are cultivating is the shape that expresses itself as bliss in the heart space. And so below that, you can see we have alphabet. Now, if you click on this link, this is the best. And this is I mainly put this here for Charlie and Josh, because I'm probably more excited than anyone in this realm to read their collaboration on the hieroglyphics of the English language. And I'm curious if anyone can hear this song of the alphabet and tell me where it comes from. So it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. The alphabet comes from Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, because the letters that let in energy are letting in the energy of the stars. We are literally interfacing right now with the geometry of the heavens. And so if you look at this link, it's going to show you the origin of words from all cultures, how they all synchronize into the constellations. And just quickly parlaying into what I see is the found word. And it's pronounced, of course, Hebrew is right to left. This is Yod, He, Waw, Chet. And this is the same word just with the alephs, because in the Proto-Hebrew, the Ah was the articulated vowel. And if you look at the work of allegedly Dave, he talks about how, in his perspective and research, Proto-Hebrew is the original tongue, and babies speak it. Wawa, mama, papa, all this ah. This is Proto-Hebrew, and he talks about this experiment that I think it was a duke or a baron did, where he moored a deaf and mute woman with 2 young boys on an island and provided all the provisions, but provided no education, no access to the outside world. When he returned after many years of, keeping them alive, he found that when these boys hit their teens, they were speaking fluent Paleo-Hebrew without any kind of education. So when we look at babies, we can have a lot more interest in actually seeing that they are actually speaking what could be the original tongue. And so if you look at this tetragrammaton, which a lot of times in the Bible when it says God, the original Greek, it says tetragrammaton. Tetra means 4, gram means the weights. So you can see that the Yod is the father fire, the He is the mother air, the Waw is the mother water, the Chet is the daughter earth. They each have these numerical values. The Aleph has a numerical value of 1, that is the ether. And when you add them all up, it equals 33. And when you stack them all on top of each other, the Yod is the head, the He is the arms, the Waw is the torso, and the Chet are the legs. So when it says in Genesis, tetragrammaton created beings in its own image. In the image of tetragrammaton, it created them, male and female, it created them. We could actually see that this could be the core original alchemy of this. So in my own practice, the way that I imbue food, my email signature, which is always linked to my website about deworming yourself and other things, is Ya, Ha, Wa, Cha. And I'm going to do a whole presentation on that about how it's a dual reciprocating hyperboloid, because it onks the energy up the spine while articulating the body from the top down. Because Ya, Ha, Wa, Cha, but the Ya, Ha, Wa, Cha is an upward ascending energy. So it has the blue shift, red shift within it. And I just want to show you in comparison to what I call the lost word, which is what many people are telling you is the word of God. You can see here there's 2 He's. And you can see that this He is disconnected. It's not grounded to the earth. Whereas the Chet, you can see here it's connected. This connects us to the earth, to the daughter, to the goddess. Whereas when He, now we're disconnected. Now we're off kilter on one of our feet. Now there's no balance. There's no energy. And so this is where Yehovah comes from. And my contention is that Yehovah is a false calling forth of an imbalanced quality of your own energies. Because any god, any goddess, any deity is going to be an aspect of yourself as well that you are calling forth. When you're calling forth Jesus, Zeus is the Ajna. Zeus throws down lightning bolts from heaven because the crown brain, or the third eye Ajna brain, sends electrical impulses from the heaven of the head to articulate the body. So that's, Jupiter inside of you. And so I'm going to do a whole presentation on this and probably interview the Essene High Priest on what his thoughts are on this, because I think that this is the stone that the builders rejected. The sword in the stone are the words in the tones. This is a word you're not going to find this in many places, if anywhere. I've done the research. This has been occulted because this is you. This is the word made flesh. It looks like us. It is in the geometry of you. So when you are speaking this, you're also speaking a fortification to your vessel, which is weaving a spiritual suture to mend any imbalance or, auric, mental, or physical tears that may be going on in the vessel. Now, before we get into the tree of Christ and the tree of life, I just want to share this graphic that I made that I'm continuing to meditate on. I am learning all these things alongside. I just present this because I frankly just want more people to be in conversation with about this. Because as we, I'm dealing with one of my really good friends whose mother just got the same vaccine today that is making some people go full on, autistic. And Christian, the scientist in Puerto Morelos, is literally healing people from vaccine damage, including the stuff that is being given to people now. So why I want to emphasize the virtues, the values, and the vices is because as we come into balance with these, we can really get to the core point of how can we build community around these standards, because these are the 7 chakras. And as we build ourselves up through this and we resonate our temple more authentically, we're going to attract that wholeness outside of ourselves as well. So we know the 7 is the number of completion. We see it in the chakras, the colors of the rainbow, days of the strong, not the weak, as I call it. The phalanges of the hand are 14, that divides into 7. The 7 virtues, 7 directions, the 7th being going within, because you have, up, down, left, right, forward, back, but you also have going within. That's the 7th direction. And then you have 7 portals on the head. So 7 is a very important number. And I'm presenting this chart not as gospel truth. I just made this. I haven't seen this anywhere. I haven't seen anyone graphically overlay the vices and virtues into the values of the chakra system. I know from experience that the chakra system builds itself on the root of protection, the navel of creativity, the solar plexus of empowerment, the heart of love, the throat of honesty, the ajna, third eye of awareness, and the crown of selflessness. So that's 1 to 7. And 7 is important because it is the only number that does not divide evenly into the pie, into the circle, into the 360. All other numbers will go in evenly. 7 has a remainder. That's why it is the scythe of Saturn. That's why Saturn rules time, because he cuts that circle of the cycle, because he goes into what is timeless, which what I'm going to argue is this Christic geometry. So I invite you guys just to meditate on this. Again, I'm not saying that these are correct alignments from what I have seen. It is the most coherent from what I can come up with. And I'll be adding another one, which is the vias, which is Latin for way, of how these can be accessed. And ultimately, it's just going to be the protection can be activated through our own embodiment of nonviolence, creativity through regeneration, empowerment through synergy, love through the Chrism and Kryst. And I say Christ with a K because K is the 11, which is balanced. And then Y is the ultimate question, the ultimate why. And in my experience in resonance and just research of the symbolism of letters, K and Y are just stronger in their resonance field than the C and the I. So if anyone's wondering, like, why is this KRYST? 1, it's stronger. And then 2, it's going to be healthier because people are triggered when they see Christ with a, you know, even when they just hear it, they're triggered because they had this association of trauma. So as an artist who's interested in psychology, I'm choosing to creatively use this spelling as a tool for people to remap with a fresh sensibility of how is this Christ in me and how is this different than what I've known it to be. And then honesty is activated through nonviolent communication. If you haven't heard of that, I highly recommend looking that up. And then awareness is within stillness and meditation. The selflessness is in our stewardship to our own body. And then as our body becomes more of the earth herself, then we will have the opportunity to be a steward of her. But first, we have to show that we have the devotion and diligence to become that, to become in resonance with that. This is how I see it. I never feel alone because I feel so all one, communing with the goddess through the fruits of her labor and her selfless offerings to us. And just because I know we're already an hour and a half in, I want to just go over these trees of life. We have the Essene tree of life. In their practice, they have a benediction for the first part of the day and the evening part of the day. Notice how we have, you know, the roots going into the darkness and the crown going forth into the light. In the Essene model, there's the earthly mother and the heavenly father. In the Essene model, the high priestess and high priest are of equal standing, which, you know, is so needed right now. And so I invite you guys to look at this because in their tree, it's different from, you know, the traditional Kabbalistic tree that we get that descends from the Egyptian Pound Neteru, which some people say is the original tree of life. But you are the original tree of life. So I'm fascinated that 14 system. If you want to see a syncretic model of the Essene tree, they relate it to the gems and the elements, which I find really interesting. So just things to go into depth with. And you'll see this Pauneteru overlay of the tree of life in the slides that we're about to dive into right now as we go into Christic geometry. And again, we're looking at Christ because Christ is immortal. Life implies death. Now, life is a lie because there is no death. There's just this recycling going on. So you're immortal no matter which way you cut it. It's just, does that want to be embodied? Is there the devotion and yearning there to bring that in the now for that immortality to be accepted and cultivated and honored? And so I'm going to swap from this screen share to the slide deck that we have prepared. Oh, that's right. I restarted my computer. Let me just go into my Patreon page. Let me just, while I pull this up, I just want to give Marie a chance to speak, as she's been so gracious to host this. And of course, if Charlie wants to ping in before we go into the Christic geometry, completely welcome. I'm going to set this up real quick.
Yeah, well, I'm super delighted to just be a student and to absorb as much as my sweet mind can keep up with. It's amazing information. I think one of the things that really sat with me, Charlie, that you said earlier was just that we're the ones, like we're the ones with the power, and that really, like, the problems we have are based on our belief in our separation from our creator. And so this is all tying us back to it in a way that it's non-negotiable. Like you can find it in so many of the ancient teachings, and even just the way that you're breaking down numbers and magnetism and looking at the chakras like you did, like that's something everyone in the New Age communities has some awareness of the chakras, but to look at them like from these broader perspectives, I think it's really healing and important for us as we continue to grow in this information as the alkaline men and women, that we just allow ourselves to sit and hear and resonate, just like we're sitting around in a circle around a campfire, and try and keep our minds engaged. I think that nowadays there's a lot of like you know, we're doing so many things and we're multitasking, and this is the kind of stuff that it's so rich. You kind of got to sit with it and hear it a few times. So I really appreciate this opportunity just to be in your presence, to be a student, and I love that. Thank you. That's all I really have. It looks like Charlie's got some for us. The diamond.
Well, in Remembrancer, in what Remembrancer is teaching, the very nature of what he's teaching is building a diamond. So you have the dichotomy, because we've fallen into a duality from the singularity. So above you have the pi, below you have the phi, and in the middle you have the cry, which is the two, which is the mother, which is the heart chakra in the middle, and it creates the shape of a diamond. Now, this is really important for everyone to know, because this is magnetism, and how this it just continues to astound me. Actually, not that much to know about magnetism. It's like God's creation in perfection, because it's simple, but it's the motor of the world, drives everything, and yet it's really simple. So phi, which so rightly so that Remembrancer is talking about, is this outward spiral of creation. So within the physical, the duality, everything formulates its fourfold nature through this outward golden mean is average of 1.618. And then this is essentially the shape, and this is also the Fibonacci cycle. This is the Fibonacci, the cycle that plays itself out through the 1.618. Now, in magnetism, this is the outer edge of the magnetic field, which is called a centrifugal force, and the fugal force is to create out there. So it's from within out. You're creating out, but there's a massive difference between the monad, and that is the pi, because the pi is centripetal, and at the center of any magnetic field, in complete darkness, is a single point of white light. On every single magnetic field, all you have to do is just zoom in on it, and you will see at the very center, and it's an inner spiral. It's inwards. Phi is outwards. So this is the building block of how everything creates itself out there. But this is how everything comes back home in there, which is the pi, 3.14. And so at the very center is the centripetal force. You can't make this stuff up, right? The tree of life, which is the whole point, is to create the pine cone or the lotus upon the crown with 144 petals. So when we do this journey within us to the sixth, then we have 48 petals. We have 48 petals to the throat of the body. Why would we have 48 petals of the lotus flower to the throat chakra? Remember, let's go back to Remembrancer's genius and his teachings earlier about 48 and 9 and magnetism, and 48 times 9 is 432. And there's 48 petals, because that's the completion of the fourfold nature of man, okay? So upon the cross. And this is the completion of that fourfold nature, and this is where the crucifixion occurs at the throat chakra. That's why this signal isn't death or kill somebody. The signal is crucifixion. And so that's why there's 48 petals. You see everything's frequency. The lotus flower is as much metaphysical and spiritual as it is physical, a flower. So 48. And then the power of going above, the power of raising oneself through magnetism is double the amount. So if there were 48 petals to the flower here, then there are 96 petals just in the third eye chakra, just in the third eye chakra. So there's a total of 48 petals to the throat chakra, but then we double to the magic kingdom, the magic world, and there are 96 here. 96 plus 96 and 48, 144. So there are 144 petals of the lotus flower within us. And this is the mark of the blood of the perfect lamb of the children of God is creating the pine cone on the top, or the lotus flower on the top of this Christed tree of life. And then the significance of the cry and the symbol of the two, and then this being at the centermost point of the diamond. Again, when we're looking at this is any pyramid. If you just dug up the earth with any pyramid, you'll see that the opposite exists below it. So this is the Father above and the Mother below. And when you put the Mother and the Father together, you get the diamond. And then this is the middle way. This is the middle way. And this is the balance between two worlds. And then a meeting of the minds is when the energy of the Father, electricity, settles down into the rising energy of the Mother, and they have a union of the minds, which is this unity consciousness, and then that creates a Star of David. So then when the Father meets the Mother halfway, then you get the Star of David. And then this is what Remembrancer is talking about with this. What we need now more than anything else is this bringing the Mother and the consciousness of the Mother back into all of this before we wipe ourselves off the face of this beautiful earth. And then just really quickly down at the bottom here, again with the yods in Hebrew, and these are do you have oil in your lamp? Because you can't have the spark, you can't have the spark of creation or of life of the Father, the yod, without oil in your lamp. And then see, this is the swastika. And this is what the Big Dipper and the swastika represents, which is the penitent man humbly raising the yod up to the Father around the North Star, which is the North Pole, which is the center Earth. So this swastika and the Big Dipper, I'll guarantee you, they're right here. They're right here. They're right there at the North Pole in the center of all of this. So it's all sacral geometry. And then as Remembrancer is teaching us, it's all this Christic geometry as well. And it's all based on this Innerstand of singularity and duality. So, yeah, I just wanted to add that in. And now we're ready to go back to Remembrancer.
Wow, eating coconut and listening to you explain that was a double pleasure. Thank you, Charlie. That was really beautiful. I think also, Charlie, this might be why God in Spanish is Dios, Dio, meaning two. I was thinking about that the other day and how there's kind of like this dualistic aspect to the God in the Bible. Yeah. So there's definitely something very special about, the number two and what we're going to be looking at right now. And so I'm going to screen share the preview. All right, can you guys see this okay? All right. So let's see, where are we going? Oh yeah, let's go to this top. Wait. Let's see. View, exit full screen. Okay. So let's try this. This is a cross-cut section of DNA. It's the flower of life, and it holds the golden ratio. I bet that blew your mind. It should. This definitely blew my mind when I saw it. I don't know if this is true. I guess it's an electron microscope image. but I wouldn't be surprised if this is what our DNA looks like. The flower of life is everywhere in nature. It's also in a lot of sacred sculptures. This is the Forbidden City, and there are some very ominous looking lion figures that hold their paw over this knowledge of this Fibonacci golden ratio flower of life that you see in a sphere. And what I'm going to argue is that this is actually a temple of black magic occultists that are saying this is the power that we use to rule people and keep them in the fear of the sphere of the ball model. By the way, it's interesting to note that if you do look at the world through the model of a sphere, if you take any glass sphere, what do you get? You get an inversion of reality. So if you've ever looked through a sphere of glass, it will put the world upside down. So this whole thing we've been talking about of the realm that we're in and the models we've been presented, there's a reason that it is that specific shape. It's because that is how you invert a reality. And so this is a close-up of what it looks like. You can just see this is a sculptural version of the flower of life. It is also burned into a temple in Egypt. No one really knows how this was done, but you can see pretty clearly there's the flower of life. And basically, these explorations are extrapolations from the work of Frank Chester. Frank Chester is a geometrician who teaches at Waldorf schools. He discovered the Chestahedron, which is a seven-sided geometrical plutonic figure of the heart. If you've never heard of him, I highly recommend looking at his videos. There's going to be links to him in the top link because he's featured in the video. And essentially, the difference between these two geometries is one is going to have a circle at the center, and the other one's going to have an opening at the center. So you'll know these are just the same thing, except the center in here is not enclosed. And so this is essentially what it starts to look at. If you're to start with the geometry, this is the flower of life. This is 19 circles. Again, that's the COVID-19. That's the AI. A is 1, I is 9. This is 18. That's 369. That's Tesla. That goes back to 9. Because again, the 19 adds up to 10, which is Satan, which puts you back to 1 again, which means you start all the way over from 1. The 18 is the 9. That's the divine. That is the most high. It is the highest number in the system of numerology that we are using. And so what you're going to notice, this one over here, it doesn't look as exciting as this one over here. But we're going to see as this builds, your mind is going to blow. Literally, it's going to expand. Because as Charlie said, this is all about the pyramids. And what do you see here? You see my mouse circling this here? You see that? That's an unfolded pyramid. That's an unfolded 5-sided pyramid. But listen to the word I'm saying, peer amid. Peer as in to look deeply, amid as in the center of something. When you peer looking amid in the middle, you go back to the optic thalamus pineal pituitary complex of the third eye vehicle. It is also the peer, as in like a pier that goes out into a body of water. It's a pier amid this being lost at sea business that we're discovering. So the whole, and then the pier amid is also PYR is the fire. So it's also the fire in the middle. The pyramid has a layer of meanings. There's a reason it's on the dollar bill. There's a reason it is a symbol that's going to keep recurring. So what this next slide is it is a highlighting of the center points just to show you the difference of these geometries. And what you're going to see is that This geometry on the left is a hexagram around a hexagram. The hexagram is Earth, so this is Earth on Earth. Over here, this is what Frank Chester did. He took this, and like a playful child, inquisitive genius that he is, he just rotated these outer 12 around these inner 6, and he got a circle. So this is literally the geometry of heaven on Earth. And this is why this is so important. Because when we're talking about symbols that we want to sympathetically resonate with, symbolic wearing is sympathetic magic. It is a form of magic. So when I've met people with flower of life tattoos on their hands and on their body. That is a form of magic. By the way, I do not recommend tattoos. They poison your blood and they do all kinds of crazy stuff. You're perfect as you are. But even, it's pretty much when you go to any festival, you cannot help but to see this flower of life design everywhere. I mean, it is everywhere. Why? My contention is because it is an imbalanced geometry of Earth on Earth. There's no heaven within it. So it is out of balance, and it's weighing you down to the sacrum. It is sacred, no doubt. It is beautiful, no doubt. But because it is not alchemically balanced as this heaven on earth geometry, my contention is it is not going to resonate you into the reality that you would prefer. So this whole Christic geometry, this creating the crystal skull, the crystal is indestructible. The diamond mind is indestructible. That is the chemistry and physical foundation of being an immortal in this realm. I'm not saying this is possible, this life with the vessel in the condition that it is right now. I'm also saying that it's not possible. I'm acting as if it is, because that is in the best interest of the 7-generation forward and back healing that I've pledged myself to, and I'm honored to partake in. Again, there's that number 7. So here we are with the seed of Christ. Notice it does not have the inner ring, as flowers do not have an inner ring. And this looks like a flower. And it extrapolates into here. And we first see these interconnected, unfolding pyramids. As we continue, we see the beginning of more pyramids forming. More are forming. And now here's where it gets interesting. Check this out. Here we have an eye. We have an eye here. We have a 5-sided philtrum shape. The philtrum is the shape right here. It looks like a shield around an eye right here. Now this eye, as it continues, becomes a spoken word. It's like a wheel with spokes on it. So you have 2 eyes, a philtrum. Look at the center. If that's not a nose, I don't know what it is. This is the shape of a nose right here. So you have 2 eyes, a nose, a philtrum, and a mouth. And up here, you have what is like a pine cone pineal shape. So we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 geometries that you find on the human head are found in this Christic geometry. And why I think this is because this is saying this is crystallizing your head. Your head is going to become crystalline. All will become Christ. Crystal. Crystal. Crystals. Why do we like crystals? Because it's this sympathetic resonance pattern that we too are to become. And so when we're talking about sigil, sympathetic magic, this is Christic geometry. You're not going to find this anywhere. I've looked. I've dredged the interwebs. You're probably the first 100 people ever seeing this, because the video is from a few months back, but not many people have watched it. It's on the Library blockchain. I think Library is the future of the video platforms. If you are on YouTube, you can automatically port all your content over to Library. It's lbry.tv. It also has an Odyssey a graphic user interface. So if you see Odyssey, just know that's also Library. Library is great because you can post any content. You can post video, photo, think you can post stuff to sell. It's very, very dynamic platform. So check out Library. If you're not familiar, get familiar. Now going back a slide, this is just highlighting what I'm saying. If it's not clear to you, these yellow highlights will make it clear. These are the eyes. This is the nose. That's the philtrum. This is the open mouth that becomes the spoken word. And then this is the pineal ajna, third eye chakra. And so as this continues to extrapolate, it's connected with all of these interwoven, unfolded pyramids. And by the way, if you have any facility with Adobe Illustrator, I placed all of these circles by hand, one by one. So it took an immense amount of time. I don't know the geometric angles. I'd be willing to gander that it's 45 degrees. If you look at the sacred geometry, it's all about 60 degrees. Crystals crystallize at 45 degrees. 4 plus 5 is 9. So it's a difference between 6 and 9. 6 is the inversion of 9. So we have the 9 energy up here and the 6 energy down here. That's the lower sexual 6 energy that a lot of this realm is geared towards, that carbon earth. Earth is 666. That is the goal of having this polarization down instead of up to the divine 9. So there's not many slides left here. We've really gotten the gist. If you can't see the pyramids, these are the pyramids. This is the square base. And just imagine all of these folding up. If you look at the video, I have an actual video of it folding up for you to see how this becomes a pyramid. And then what I'm working with now is, going to these really, expansive models of the Christic geometry. It just keeps going. It never stops. I basically played with overlaying different versions of the tree of Kryst. Now, this is more of what you see at the tree of life. But what I'm really most interested in is the Essene. So this is what I'm most interested in right now. So this has to do with something called the Cathara grid. And again, if you click the first video link, that's going to have more links if you want to get more into what all this is about. It's going to take you to a place called the Ascension Glossary, it's like a Wikipedia for spirituality. And they have entries about Christic geometry. Christic geometry is a real thing. I didn't discover it. I just happened to play and extrapolate on the works of geniuses like Nassim Haramein and Frank Chester. And I've gone into how does this play into the counterpart to the flower of life? And how is the flower of Kryst something that has a higher sympathetic resonance with what we're trying to call in? Ultimately, my goal is to work with someone to completely open source this so this can be shared, made into art. I want to make art based on Christic geometry, the sevenfold chakra system, and education systems based on the sevenfold chakra system, so we can see that the body is a map of how to return home to the A, E, O, U, like Charlie is talking about. To return here involves learning the blueprint of the sevenfold chakra and how that ultimately relates to Christ. So I, as an artist, I spent a lot of time, getting, 60,000 followers on Instagram when it was first hot and popping, and it didn't fill me up. I didn't care. I stopped using it. I dropped down to 20K. I'm about to drop it completely because of the new terms and conditions. But as an artist who, sells photography and makes my way in the world through art, I've had an ebb and pull in that regard with the platform because, there's definitely a hard reality to bridge to these more etheric embodiments we're talking about. But as an artist, what art showed me is that the body is the greatest work of art. And the body, mind, spirit is the highest technology. And so to use this and appreciate this Christic geometry and to remember it, because this is talking about you. Just look clearly. It's looking at you. Literally, the design is looking at you, waiting for you to see that this is a mirror of a geometrical ascension that's going on inside of your body, inside of your temple. So, you know, I've played with a lot of different overlays of how these trees, you know, this is the Cathara grid, you know, in a twofold nature over itself. And I'm going to continue to extrapolate and play. But my goal on Holarchy is my intention to set up a store where people can not only buy designs that have this on it, but click free open source files. So if you don't have the coin to shell out for something that is just like kind of weird to you, or you don't want to buy it, just download it for free and share it and spread it. And let this be, you know, a counter positive virus, if you will, in a positive sense of that word, to re-infiltrate the collective consciousness and to seed alchemically with this sympathetic sigil magic, this resonance of Christ that to me is the counterweight to the flower of life. But truly, we are timeless. We are looking for the Christ within. We are embodying the Christ within. We are seeing that within one another. And I really think that it's tools like this and art forms around things like this that are going to be a redemption for the culture. Because, you know, what I said the other day, you know, the answer to what is protection, what is creativity, what is empowerment, what is love, what is honesty, what is awareness, and what is selflessness, what is the unifying archetype of all these chakras? It's Christ. Christ is all of those things. And so as we reclaim that as our highest protection, you know, we enter back into this realm, like Charlie said, where you are literally untouchable. And walking with that gnosis and being just a reminder to other people of that infinite bliss and wisdom that's within them, that's how we win this without firing a shot. And yeah, so I just, you know, I know this is different. I don't think anyone has ever seen this before, at least, you know, in this incarnation. I don't think it's new. I just see this as a rediscovery. But I'm just going to go up to a couple of the higher slides, and I just kind of want to hear the reaction to that, because I haven't shared this with many people. This is something I discovered on New Year's Eve. I was by myself by the oldest trees in the world where I plant my hair. If you ever cut your hair or you comb your hair, do not throw it in the trash. Do not leave it at the hairdresser if you're going to do that. Do not flush it down the toilet. Keep it and plant it. Don't leave it out in the sun. Don't leave it out in the water. It's sympathetic magic. You are quantumly entangled to the information that's in this. So my recommendation is to keep the hair and plant it at trees or places that are, you know, holy and hallowed to your nature and in resonance with your wild, you know, beautiful, infinite self. So yeah, I'm just going to mute myself here and kind of take an impression on where this Christic geometry is landed, and, you know, just any thoughts. Much love.
You want to go for it, Charlie?
Sure. I mean, it's fabulous stuff, and what's really wonderful is that pointing this out through the essence of his teaching is he's showing you how the system is so aware of this, and then they have their own versions of this, and then it's those people who use their variations, which would then be like a synthetic pill or an AI. It would be an inorganic variation of what is God and what is natural, because remember, they're left brain, so they can't come up with anything. All they can do is twist it, turn it upside down, pollute it, toxify it. That's all they do. That's all they've done to the earth. That's all they've done to us. Look around you. That's all they do. And those are the books that are bestsellers. Those are the authors who are famous. And those people who perpetuate the myth or the lie are the ones that make the big lists and big names. And those that create the truth do toil and anonymity. and on and on and on. So I thought that was absolutely wonderful. And again, look at the shapes. If you just relax your eyes and look to the left of the screen right now, and there's a list of Christ 6, Christ 7, Christ 8, and just relax your eyes and look over there. See the crosses?
Yeah.
See the crosses in there, which is, you know, the very center, the holy center of the outer ring is the inner ring, which is the monadic circle. And in the very fabric of us is the glue that holds us together, which is so. You know, when you see these things occurring naturally, you can take it on authority that these are righteous things. And again, when you're looking at the numerology and doing all of this, Remembrancer is absolutely right. It's 3, 6, and 9. This is Tesla. And, you know, again, Remembrancer was saying about the Earth being 666. And remember, with the 666, we just have to turn it into the 9. So think about 666 and what it represents. 3 6s, and the 3 6s create 18. And the 1 and the 8 is 5. So do you see that? In 666, you have 3 and 9, which is the whole point of everything, the building blocks of life. And again, remember from that allegorization of the natural magnetic energy of the 3, 6, and 9, 3 would be the mother, the Trinity,
in the other room.
the journey of man, and 9 is where we're rising to, which is divinity, which is divine above. So that is the 9, 3, 6, and 9. So it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. And again, Remembrancer was touching on a few things here. So the pyramid, to peer, to see, amid, which is you know, in the center, but amid something is in the middle, or the inner point of you. So it's within. So the pyramid is the fire within. So is to see the fire within. And again, in the pyramid, you have the optic thalamus with the king's chamber, pineal gland above, and the queen's chamber, pituitary gland below. And when they are unified, then you get this electrical impulse that activates the capstone, which is this magical third eye. And again, this is all symbolizing what happened, which the baptism of fire. And then this takes us to God. So if you look at in Latin, in Spanish, God is Dios, which again, the di is everything, because that's the Father. The di is the perfection of stillness and silence. So this is utter, complete balance. Di is perfection in balance, because it's stillness and silence. So when you look at why it would be Dios, so you have the perfection of the Father taking the oscillating ocean wave, a child lost at sea, and rising it to heaven, Dios. And the S is the sine wave, which is the symbol of the magnetism that is rising. So this is the mother. So Father Di, child adrift, lost at sea, and finding him or herself home. And then that takes us all the way back to the beginning of Remembrancer's presentation today about the pneumogastric nerve, which is the vagus nerve, which is the vagabond. And this oscillating O, us adrift at sea, cut adrift by society, they've left us, and alone upon the sea, and they've taken us and personified us into a birthing certificate, and then that's what's real. That's what they can make money off of. And then we're adrift upon the sea. This is the sea. Sea above, sea below, to make the S. And we are the child adrift. So father, the child, and then the answer is the sine wave of the mother, which is magnetism rising. And that's it. And as I say, all of these letters are tied to the numbers, and they all tell a story, and they're all in the location that they are for a very, very special reason. But yeah, it's really beautiful. So well done, Remembrancer, and thank you for all of the incredibly hard work where you were having to literally place circle after circle after circle after circle to create these endless. And Remembrancer makes an incredible point, which is that you never get to the end of this. You'll never get bored of this. You'll never know it all. There's the genius of this creation is that it will stimulate you forever. That's the gift. That's the gift when you go to the Father, is eternal passion through the eternal fire of the pyramid. So well done, my friend. Marie?
I just, wow, want to take us back to the moment you said the pyramid piece, Amber, and it was like going, like looking through your optic nerve. So Ruby's behind me doing her, she loves, they love each other, these two. But
Ruby, I love you. I'm so glad to see you. Ruby, hello.
my Ruby girl, precious gem. She's a precious gem, this one. But, you know, looking, I was probably her age actually, when I could see things as a child. Like I could let my eyes go out of focus, and some of those cool, you know, pictures or whatever, you would see different shapes coming out if you would let your eyes go out of focus. And I thought that was kind of cool. But after a certain amount of time, you know, the school was like, oh, she's not seeing properly. So then I was in these like classes to like get my eyes to focus or whatever. So I hadn't realized that I haven't let my eyes go out of focus in a long time, like a long time. So when you said that and you had the two geometries up, I was like, I just let it happen like it did when I was young. And I saw the other one, like the black one, kind of move back, the earth on the earth geometry, move back in my visual, and the other one just came out to life. It was so beautiful, and I loved it. And the minute, yeah, those the one on the left is like, I want it to go away. And then when you had the yellow circles, like the yellow just highlights on the other aspects of it, I saw the crosses right away too, and the faces right away too. And it is about just kind of getting out of that focus, that, and I guess that's a little bit of the left brain, but just really widening and allowing ourselves to see it. It feels like it's heightening my intuition. And that's like, I don't necessarily get all of the aspects of it and the numbers and all of that. I'm learning as I go, but I really like how it's like bringing me back to the essence, that little bit of child energy too. And just the knowingness of the geometry, like to see them kind of come to life. It's really kind of exciting. That's what I have to say. And it's really beautiful. And I feel honored that you shared it with us as your first little bit.
I'm so honored, and you actually rekindled a memory for me too, because I grew up going to Christian Science churches, and it was rather passive interfacing with the tradition for me. And so when I was given the opportunity to not go, I just said, no, I don't want to go. And then I fell in love with a Christian girl in high school, and she took me to her church. And they were much more, you know, zesty, and they were asking people to call Christ into their heart. And so I had this moment, like, after having not gone to church for probably like 7 years or something, of like really sincerely, I was like, man, I really like this girl. She's got a great stillness about her, and I want that, because I never really had that growing up. It was always, you know, about TV dinners and cartoons and video games. You know how it is. anyway, so I sincerely, for the first time, called Christ into my heart. And I had a vivid, with my eyes closed, phosphonetic imprint of Christ's face. And when I say phosphonetic, when you close your eyes, you can see, Buddha called them kalapas. It's like this suchness, tautness of like effervescent becoming and leaving and like popping in and out of existence. So you close your eyes, there's actually a grain to your vision. The grain of your vision is called a phosphene. So I had a phosphonetic, lucid imprint of Christ's face with my eyes closed. And so for me when I was working on this alone, I was spending a lot of time alone in the woods up in Bishop, California, by the oldest trees in the world, just communing. And I was all alone on New Year's. And then all of a sudden a face pops up at me. And it's the face of Christic Geometry. And so it's Christ also. And so it was this, thank you for saying that, Marie, because you brought up that memory, and I had that moment with this experience. Because for me as an artist, it's always been about the give me something that's real. Give me something where I know I'm here. Like I want to know I'm here. And so I was always kind of looking for that impulse in whatever creative expression I do, whether it's music, where you lose and find yourself at the same time in a moment of surprise that opens you up to the infinite of the all. And this was like one of those moments in a completely new art form. Like I don't work in Illustrator. The only thing I know how to do in this program is drag circles around. If you look at this close enough, you'll see a lot of imperfections, but they're perfectly imperfect, depending on how you look at it. A lot of Zen artists, they'd always leave one mistake intentionally in their work to make it a masterpiece. They said it was necessary to leave one mistake. So, for anyone who's out there activating with creativity, which I suggest everyone does, whether it's painting or singing or dancing or talking or drawing, whatever it is, it's so important to have a creative outlet in your life. It's so important to do that. And my platform, holarchy.cc, which you can see a link to, this is like a blog post we were saying earlier. It's all about activating the right brain artist, the left brain scientist, and corpus callosum healer. Because we are all healers, we are all scientific, and we are all artistic. And we are all seeds of a shaman, because the shaman is one who synergizes those to remind you who you are. So I know we're, 2 hours plus right now. I don't know how much longer you guys want to go for. I've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to. If anyone is interested in collaborating in this regard, I saw a gentleman in the chat, Aaron Jesse. Thank you, brother, for saying that you want to go and document this magnetic healing that's going on with Santos. Because that's, right now I'm just following my creative spark. And right now everything says that there's a modern day Tesla hanging out with Santos Bonacci, go play and create and collaborate. So I can't think of anything that would be more exciting than that. And then my intention is to bring back the technology for Marie to add to her own regimens, to continue to embody the wholeness in her life, because whatever this technology is, like Charlie said, you are greater than that. At the same time, like Charlie said, we've been attacked since birth. So it's about time we had some balance here in the technological side of what's going on. So I'm not seeing this technology as a cure-all. It's not Christ. Christ is the panacea. Christ is the pan. Pan is all. Ace, pan, ace, Christ is the ace, everything. And so in addition to this cultivation of that energy, like I said, I think technology like this could be the impetus and the catalyst for the Great Awakening. Just, murdering people's parasites and getting them to stop putting all this energy to the parasitic reality. and get back to the individual. The individual means the one who cannot be divided. If you're hosting a parasite, you've been divided. If you're hosting some other, demonic eidolon, you're divided. Getting back to this individuation, this individual and indivisible nature, that is the Christ within, and so much more that we will continue to build on and explore with each other. Like, please feel like you could reach out to me to share your art. My email, that link. I want to hear what you're working on. I'm looking for the regeneration to create a new form of art that revitalizes spirit, that redeems all of that we've been through, to revert the inversions and, playfully deal with this demonic energy by just inverting it back to the angelic essence that we are returning to. And if you feel called to be part of that movement, whether it's making music or making art or any creative expression, please get at me. It doesn't have to be a question about health or wellness or, what we're pondering on here. Just know that, building community around this regeneration of our culture is foundational. It's necessary, and it's going to happen. So if you want to be part of that, reach out to me. I see myself in the future. I'd love to be, not a teacher, because a teacher is an anagram for cheater for a reason. Because anyone who thinks that they're teaching you something is kind of holding something over your head saying, oh, you want this? Oh, here it is. Here's a little bit. Here's a little bit. Here's a little bit. Here's a little bit. People emailed me after the last show and they're like, can you mentor me? No, because I am here to help others activate the anointing within that teacheth all things. Go back to that John quote about, no man is to teach you. It is the anointing that is no lie that teaches you all things. So I'm here to continue to explore that, to be inspired and inspire others, because that's the decentralized Akashic trust verification internet system that we are building as a mirror for what's being presented as the alternative. So, ask amber@protonmail.com. Just email me, and Aaron Jesse, please email me. Anyone who wants to make video or photograph and help articulate to the world this revolution of magnetic healing and magnetism. And when I'm there, Charlie, I'm going to be looking at you to get you on a video with me, Santos, and Christian the scientist. Christian has over 250,000 followers on YouTube. He's very activated. His heart is in the right place. But I think we'd also have a lot to offer in terms of ideas on how to balance our own technological of the body with this. Because if you look at the video I made about it, I started the video out by saying like, oh, this Tesla coil, that's the coil of Kundalini. Kundalini means coiled serpent. Oh, this pineal, that's a capacitor. It's a capacitor. It's the cap. The caps. If you look at capacitor and pineal, they pretty much look like the same thing. If you look at the pituitary, that's a resistor. That's a resistor. So we can reverse biological engineer all of these computers, all of these Tesla techs to remember, oh, that's what this does. And that's how this can work in concert. And when I unify the thoughts of the mind, the emotion of the spirit, and the actions of the body, where the color, shape, and sound of frequency are synergized in the holistic intelligence and intention of Christ, that's when you're talking about rapidly activating your manifestation and basically telling the universe, I am ready to be coherent. I am ready to cohere with your co-creative process and surrender to that. Sur means up, render means to create. So when you're surrendering, it's not about falling down, it's about exalting. And if you're mad about the word blessing, remember, you praise, you raise, so that the blessings can descend from heaven, both inside and without. So blessing is, the whole be less you thing, that's BS. That's just a misunderstanding that, we are to praise. We are built to praise. And from my 33 years in this realm, I could not think of a better thing to praise than Christ, because it exalts the center point in you, in the realm, in myself, and it's this perfect resonance of that, you know, trinity of self, other, and totality. So, you know, this revolution has started. It's been starting from within for a long time, and now that we are wording it and we're scripting it and visualizing it and identifying what is the sound of Christ, what is the shape of Christ, what is the feeling of Christ, we can cultivate that as our greatest armor and our greatest pleasure in reasserting our spiritual sovereignty and timeless nature.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for that. Go ahead, Charlie. Any last words?
Yeah, just really quickly again with the hieroglyphics of the English language. Again, the importance of taking back, you know, our truth, our reality, and when you take back these letters and you know what it is and what is being said, then it sets you free. So with Josh and I, way back when, we looked at blessing, and there were a lot of people that were really down on blessing because it's be less. You can see the be less that's in blessing. But when you break the letters down individually, what do you get, or what do you find? So you have the B, which is the mother, which is the second letter, which is the 2, which is the feminine rising. Then you have the L, which is the light of the E, ether, and then it's the 2 S's, which is the double sine wave, which is the torus field. So it is the mother to the light of the ether, eternally rising within the double torus field. In the double torus field, the 2 S's make the 8. They complete the 8, which is, of course, what the mother is. She is a scalar wave. She is the eternal 8. She is action. She is movement. So when you place a blessing on someone, this is a Christic phrase. This is the raising of Christ, because the mother never goes anywhere empty-handed, and she always brings the child. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb, and where Mary went, that lamb was sure to go. So when the mother rises up to the Father, you can be sure that little lamb will go, and that's the beauty of it. It's beautiful, and this is why the importance of knowing your alphabet, and therefore the trueness of what these words really mean, because it takes back your power. And what you're going to find is that there's not a whole bunch of mean, awful, scary, horrible, rotten words. No, they're made with all of these beautiful letters. It's just what they do is they distort, they twist, they turn, they invert God's beautiful creation. So we have to transcend the lie to see the truth. The way it works.
So powerful. You know, that's the part that I think I've been avoiding all these years, is like looking at the lie and actually like saying, okay, this has been an inversion of truth, or this is taking this geometry and making it sacred rather than Christic. And all of the things that we're learning in these types of conversations are really that movement from dark to light. And I think a lot of us just want to be in the light. And it's like what Amber said earlier, it really is about digging our roots in. And when you said that to me when you were here, it will stay with me forever, because the deeper we go, the higher we can grow. And that is really the function of us saying, you know, when Charlie says something like that, like, this is a lie, this has been inverted, or you know, refrigerators are meant to break through your auric field and make you feel crazy, you know, like, or there's parasites in your belly and you need to get them out. Like, all of these things can be really difficult to look at, but I do find that the more we can do so with equanimity and faith in who we know we are, or the essence of who we are, then no matter what comes to us, we can shift it. We can shift it, and now we have so much more. It's like you said earlier, Amber, too. I mean, we have our words now. We're putting a language to this. Now we have channels, and now we have people like Christian out there, and all of these beautiful men and women that have taken the journey before us are really leading us home to the reality of who we are as Christ, you know, and that's a really beautiful thing. My brothers and sisters in Christ. I mean, what a beautiful statement. And it really feels like we're doing that. And that Bible show yesterday too, Charlie, there's so much that's still resonating with me just around who are my brothers and sisters and who is my mother and my father. Like, who are these, who, and it's us. It's the ones that are having these conversations. This is us. And this is what it's about. We're learning how to be in community. And that's what I'm really excited about too, is how this continues to grow and how we can share each other's knowledge and have classes and workshops and circles, you know, where it's like a whole afternoon just on this. And then there's some kind of, you know, the school that we want to go to, because that's what this really feels like. Anyway, do you want to play us a little something? Go ahead, Charlie.
Just absolutely beautiful for sharing all of that. And just to remember to bring everyone again, what we teach all the time to you is that God's pharmacy is open 24/7, 365. If anything, there's no cost involved. And you see it's inside of you. Pharmacopoeia is their outer world, but the inner copia of the copious amounts of the sacred secretions of your endocrine system, the limbic and the endocrine system, are endless, and they're free, and it's 24/7, 365, no limitations, no manual. It's brilliant. So once again, you are the answer to all things. God did not create victims. It's just we have been lied to, so we exist in a state of ignorance. So when you know better, do better. And the reason why, when you know better, do better, is because then more will be revealed. And a lot of people ask me all the time, and I'll end my portion with this. I think this is really good advice for you. It's like, well, Charlie, what do I know that when it comes into my life, what do I know is something that I should follow or turn away from? And it's all about ease and flow. People will say, well, boy, God taught me an incredible lesson. That I just had a horrific experience, but at the end of the day, God taught me a very powerful lesson. God doesn't teach that way. You get yourself into trouble, and God gets you out of trouble, and then you go, boy, that God taught me a very powerful lesson. It's like, no, that God doesn't teach that way. God is ease and flow. God is floating on a raft on your back, staring up into heaven, floating down the Mississippi River and letting the currents of the Mississippi take you wherever you need to go, at whatever speed you need to go. That's how God teaches, ease and flow. So that's what we share with Marie all the time. If there's something that is in your face, that's not God. If there's something that is pounding on the side of it, it's not God. So as quick as you can, get away from everything that doesn't flow in your life. And then some people will say, you're running away. Well, yeah, who would say that? Those are all the unhappy, miserable people that are chained, vipers that are chained to the wall of organized society, screaming ultimately to get out, but they won't say that because then, their ego won't allow them to admit that they're victims and slaves, but they are, and that's why they don't want you to go. And then it's, what a coward, you're running away. Get away from what doesn't flow, and then let go and flow, and you will aglow.
I love that.
Great. I needed to hear that. Thank you, Charlie.
Wow. Let it go and you will flow. No, let it flow and you will aglow. We have a bunch of Charlie Freak lines.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Brilliant presentation, Remembrancer. Thank you. I mean, wow. And then this is permanent. This is forever out there now, which is very important.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so honored to build, and I'm honored to share. As we go on and build, I'm excited to share things that people are sending in, and report back how this movement is going, because it is happening. I'm devoting my life to this. There's nothing greater than the exaltation of Christ. It literally is. When people ask you, like, what is the point? Activating this is literally the point in you. It is the point of everything. It is the center of all things. There's nothing greater here, literally nothing. And if anyone has anything to say, when you're ready, I just want to read a ray that I composed. I don't say pray because of the phonetic similarity of making a prey of oneself. And I think it also comes from ray, because I think one of our powers is in visualizing with that third eye to make it a projector, like Charlie was talking about the other day. It's not just to receive, it's to transmit. So I call them rays. So Charlie, Colleen, do you have anything to say before I close this out? Good?
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Well, I love you guys so much. This is such an immortal pleasure. Okay, so this is called Ray Sovereign. It's a remix of the whole armor of God from Ephesians 6:10-20. Ray Sovereign. With the sword of the Spirit of Yahweh, all satanic, inverted, and unbalanced downward causation, etheric cords are severed forever from the totality of my being. Across all fractal timelines, spaces, dimensions, and aspects that may at this moment be unknown, as I inherit the most authentic, orgasmic, balanced embodiment of my omnipresence. Faith, I am protected from all seen and unseen enemies, lies, and vampiric energies, returning all curses and assaults to the sender 10,000-fold instantaneously as an effortless mirror to honor the Christ within them. With the helm of salvation, I am cleansed and guided by the earthly mother and heavenly father as the essence of Chrism infuses into the wholeness of my being. With my feet shod with the gospel of wholeness, I am attracted to all that facilitates my complete remembrance and rooted return to soul's sonoluminescence. With the breastplate of righteousness, I honor the heart's transcendent isness and the responsibility of wisely wielding power flowing through my being. With the belt of truth, I am grateful for the energy that surrounds and becomes me. With the wisdom within silence and stillness, I hold space for holy divine grace to mend, stitch, and edit any gap between this ray and my process and the collective process of ascension, as we are continually guided to gild our word. And just on the map of this Essene tree, I'm just going to read the Thursday evening ray, much shorter. Angel of wisdom, descend upon my thinking body and enlighten all my thoughts, superior thoughts. And then I'm just gonna play this 30-second lick that I've been playing on my flute. I live in a place where it's literally like trying to sleep in a discoteca. And so in the madness, I'll just wake up and start playing my flute to kind of battle the frequency. It's kind of fun too. Anyways, here's the little flute bit. And by the way, it's 432. 432. I love you guys in the agapic sense, more than words can say. Charlie, Marie. You are my brothers and sisters in this glorious return. Ooh, I love it, Charlie. What is it? Okay, I'm going to stop the screen sharing, see if we can blow that up. Can we blow that up? Charlie, can you talk so we can all see that big?
Yeah, well, just inspired by what you're saying. So it's all about frequencies, the fourfold nature of man in righteous alignment with God. 48 times 9 is 432. And then the wave of magnetism, 16 portions of 9 is 144. So that's diamonds on the soles of my shoes. And this is what Remembrancer is talking about, is this Christic energy, and the raising of this Christic energy puts diamonds on the soles of your shoes, so that the lowest part of you is composed of nothing but solid rock, diamonds. So that's what this is all about. If you take this seriously, if you do the work, if you raise Jesus Christ within you, diamonds on the soles of all Simon.
Wow. I love
So beautiful, Charlie. Oh my gosh.
diamonds in my ears. I love diamonds. Wow.
Oh, maybe that's why we have such an attraction to them on the ear right there even. It's kind of like a hidden in plain sight. Hello. This is what you are. You are beautiful.
It's a woman's best friend or a lady's best friend, diamonds. Lady's best friend, because magnetism rising to the Father, and creates the womb to the phallic, creates the diamond, and it always produces the child. So when diamonds are involved, baby making is right around the corner when diamonds is involved.
Wow. Charlie, you're so much fun. You're so much fun. We're just gonna laugh for a minute because sometimes this happens.
Oh, that's so beautiful. You know, I was reading this book. You know, we were talking about orgasms the other video we did with Justin, and I was reading this guy who says that laughter is a throat etheric orgasm, and this DMT release we're talking about in the brain is like the crown orgasm. So I know there are questions about that. The last one, it's always going to come back to how we're handling our orgasm, because that is the climax of our creative energy, and it's all about how we're using our creativity. And so thank you for that laugh, Charlie, and that beauty. I mean, wow. I feel like next time I have a really good session on the dance floor, I'm just going to keep repeating that mantra that you wrote. Diamonds on the soles of my shoes. Oh man, that's just the glimmer, baby. I love that. That's shining bright.
Shiny, shiny. If you let it flow, you'll get a glow. It was something like that.
Exactly like that. That's beautiful for show.
Well.
God taught me a hard lesson.
Super hard.
No, he didn't ever. No, he didn't ever. Oh. You dug yourself into a hole, he raised you out.
He always does. He always does. I'm always just so surprised at how easy it is for him to pull me out of my messes. And how much I want to jump back into my mess. Why do I want to do that?
That's the thing.
That's the thing. It's getting easier and easier, though. Better and better.
It is, and I see it in you. And hey, listen, if we end with one thing, let's because this is what you see with Justin, it's what you see with Marie, it's what you're continually seeing growing and developing in Siobhan, it's what you see in Colleen, and it's, oh my God, is this not Remembrancer? Greatest gift that you can give to anybody else is the fullest expression of you. And is there more for Remembrancer? Of course there is, because it's endless. You never get there. But my God, is he ever a full expression of himself? And that is an eternal gift. So every time Remembrancer is on the shows, or, you know, when he was with Marie, or when he was with Santos, and anytime, he is a breath of fresh air. Well, that's an orgasm. It is. Laughter is an orgasm. When Remembrancer's here, you laugh. When he's here, it's a breath of fresh air. It's just gold. Everywhere you go, this man is gold, because he's divined himself to go on this golden journey, the A and the U. So just that's what I was trying to say the other night, calling sort of B. I said, be Remembrancer, be Marie, be Joseph. It's be you, but learn through these expressions, because the gift that Remembrancer, this perfect vessel, he is. You're a ship at sea. Make it right. Make it right. Make your ship beautiful. Every time we see Remembrancer, his vessel is the most beautiful vessel there is anywhere. No vessels are in comparison to his vessel, because his vessel is so beautiful. Do that. Make your vessel beautiful so that everyone wants to be around you. And that's how you change the world. See, didn't have to convince anyone of any truth or anything. Be magnetic. That man is magnetic. Marie is charisma. That's the raising. Charisma is magnetism. It's charm, which is magnetism. And that's Justin and Remembrancer and Marie. They're all raising the charisma oil within them. Of course they are. They have charisma.
Just laughing. This guy. Ooh, look, I got tears coming out. I'm laughing. This guy's funny. Thank you, Charlie, for loving on us so good. You know, we really need it sometimes. And it's wonderful. We should be loving on each other and encouraging each other to, you know, just keep being who you were designed to be. Just keep being you. Such a gift. It's just, you know, since the time you got here, you've been trained not to be that. So it's a little bit rough at first. And we've all been at this for a long time. So it's just bigger steps now, bigger leaps. And more faith that God's got your back, and that you have people around you that really love you and really want to see you shine and be who you are, because we know that God's perfect in his design. So everything that God designed, the more you lift your energy and you become that, like, wow, we get to witness God again in you. And that's so much fun. That's the gift of community and brotherhood and sisterhood, and such a sweet thing that's happening to all of us right now. And yeah, I'm super moved. I'm super grateful. And yeah, it's magnetism. It's repelling and it's bringing forth. And we're kind of, you know, going with this thing and learning how to just keep receiving. I think that's really the feminine, is just receive it. Just keep, yeah, I can more and more. Give it to me more. I'll take it. Thank you. You know, like that. Yeah, receive the miracle.
Wow, Charlie, thank you so much, brother. By the time you had finished expressing, I felt the full shape of my heart, like from the back part, from the sides, from the front. You are such an activator, brother. I'm so honored to share every moment we have together. I honestly cherish it. Your videos and your willingness to stand out against the grain is one of the most epic examples of the gentle warrior I've ever seen. And just so much honor to your perseverance and tenacity and, you know, willingness to offend people. It's so important in this journey. And I love the way you do it. All of it. And Marie, I feel like you are waking up so rapidly, because, you know, when I had been with you, like, I'd kind of assumed you had been on the whole vegan thing for a lot longer. And I realized that it's because you've been doing so much work with the yoga that, like, your body is already like a receptacle for this information. I've never seen anyone soak up so much so quickly. And I'm just so honored to be in this with you, sister. So honored to have shared physical space during a Mercury retrograde. We're still in the Mercury retro shade. By the way, I picked today because Mercury goes over Jupiter today. And that is all about activating opportunities that we can achieve, new chapters on beliefs and possibilities. And it has a lot to do with the practical, mental, and communications balancing the abstract with the practical. And so that's what I knew today would be about. Like, a lot of this stuff is very abstract, but we also need to be practical. And I know as we get into this more together and bring our gifts together, this is going to be, you know, the most beautiful, artistic, musical, and spiritual movement that the world has ever recorded, because anything that has happened like this has been scrubbed, because it is the antidote against the foundation of everything that's falling down right now.
Yeah, thank you. We are the answer. You know, we're the correction. We get to be the ones. Yeah, and thank you for that. I've been dancing veganism my whole life, but I always knew it was right. We all know. We all know. We all know. Sometimes we just need a little help from our friends.
That's right. And, you know, just go back to the 1960s and just look at John Kennedy and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy. And God gave us four of his absolute best creations, and they took them all away in short order. And that, because what are they saying? What are they saying? Because these Christed ones cannot be allowed. So thank goodness that there is such a thing as the armor of God. Thank goodness that that Remembrancer wears it powerfully, because he is the antithesis. And that's what you're doing and becoming, Marie. What you're doing and becoming is the antithesis of their system, and they have to fall. There's no other place for them. They can't rise, so they will fall, and they will fall so far that they will never rise again. You know, when you read The Lord of the Rings, Professor Tolkien, when he talks about the destruction of Sauron at the end of The Lord of the Rings, he doesn't say Sauron is dead. He describes it as Sauron has fallen, and has fallen so far that it is impossible to imagine that he will ever resurrect himself again. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, these are our times. This is what we're doing. Fall away. Fall away. So hard. So it's gonna take you a really long time to regroup after that one. Too
Yeah.
many woke up, you know?
And what we're learning about Abraham Lincoln, I just didn't know anything, because they don't let you know anything. He's that far back. He's back far enough that there's not all that much you can possibly learn about Lincoln. There is with Kennedy, but there isn't about with Lincoln. And what's slowly starting to come to the surface about Lincoln, wow. So Abraham, John, yeah, Martin, Bobby, Malcolm, wow.
And we knew this, like we knew it when we learned, even in the, you know, silly history classes a lot of us were in, we knew the heroes. We knew the heroes, and our hearts were broken when we heard about the heroes. But I remember learning about Abraham, like when you just said that, Abraham, like I loved Abraham Lincoln when I was little.
Me too, but
and I loved JFK. And I don't know, because I didn't learn anything really. I mean, okay, it's slavery, abolitionist, but there was something, you know, and there's a resonance. And I think that that's what we're all coming back to, is just that trusting, that intuition, knowing, just that knowingness, and the remembering with the Remembrancer, just remembering. I love that he says that you're just remembering. So many layers have to be removed so that we can really start to embrace the remembering and live the remembering and listen to the remembering, because it tells you the opposite of what you've been trained to do.
Yeah, and remember really quickly here for everyone, remember this. the four key fourfold natures of the truth that all of the greatest in our true history all embraced. that we talk about. So, and we were doing the cross with Justin the other day. So again, you know, the sacred sex, and then the Garden of Eden diet and lifestyle, and then you know, what was it? Oh, the level, the truth is on the level. So the earth is level, and, you know, we have firmament. And then, of course, casting thy net to the right in the east is going within by meditation. So the fourfold. Look at all these greatest people in history. They all believed in those four truths. So you go to Plato, and you go to all of the greatest minds in history. They all believed in those four things. So does Remembrancer. So Santos Bonacci. So what Santos teaches are those four things. It's what is the heart and soul of Remembrancer's teachings, are those four things. Don't doubt it for a second, folks. If somebody comes out tomorrow and says, you know, aliens and stuff, maybe outside our circle, maybe. It's an infinite plane. Santos talks about, you know, the Russian dolls, and inside is another, maybe. But whatever is there, we're not getting out of here until we get it right. So don't worry about the spaceships yet and anything like that, because we're not getting out of here until we get it right. And that's the wheel, right? That's the samsara. Until you see that there is the moksha to the right, you're not getting off.
Freedom. Let freedom ring. Smoke show. Let's get free from the wheel. The wheel spinning, 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 spinning. We get dizzy at some point. Just step off the damn thing. It's like, I don't even want to get back in there. I'll do whatever it takes, you know. I'll drink all the juice you tell me to drink. Whew. Yeah. It's like when
you know I will too.
Say it again, please.
No, I was just saying I'll drink all the juice too. I'm with you on that. That's literally all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I think our message is that fourfold truth is so beautiful and so powerful. I think we need to be talking a little bit more about sacred sex as we go, like the hows of it, and like just getting into that conversation a little bit more nitty gritty would be kind of fun. And we can do that. We're grown-ups, you know, it doesn't have to be weird. But it's a super important one, and I think that we could dive into that. And you know, with the flat Earth stuff, I mean, there's so much of that information out there. The first time I heard that, I was like, oh my God, I know that that's true, but I didn't know, you know. And that's what we're talking about. All this stuff. There's an intuition. There's an inner knowing of all of this. And meditation, we all know it's good for us, but it's really getting into those spaces. I've noticed even recently, just how sweet it is to be in that space, you know.
Sweet, because you're activating the pineal gland. You can't help but say these words. You can't help but say sweet, which is activating the pineal gland, which is releasing the melatonin. Melita, meliz is the sweetness of the honey. So
Yeah.
it can't help but say these things. They're all connected into us.
It's sweet. And we're worthy. I just want to keep telling people, you guys, you're worthy. You know, let go of all this stuff, all this I can't, it's too hard, but just know you are divine. Eat the fruits of the earth, let them fill you up. They're so potent, so potent. Beautiful. Mama's fruits. You guys are fun. You guys are so fun.
Oh, this is such a pleasure. I just want to sing a little thing that Charlie just inspired. Diamonds on the soles of my shoes, mining gold from all of the blues. Crashes on my mind as my spirit bodies shine. Diamonds holding all my soul's hues.
That was awesome.
Nice, brother.
Holy cow, that was awesome. Wow.
I love how he does his dances.
I love
We're
dancing.
keep listening to Shine On You Crazy Diamond around here. When are you guys gonna decode that one? My kids are obsessed now with Pink Floyd. They're like, what? Shine On You Crazy Diamond? So good. Shine on. Oh, so powerful. Gets the heart going, right?
The resonance frequency. That the song is a resonance frequency to celebrate the activation of the pineal gland. Shine on, you crazy diamond. Charlie Freak. That's why it's the moniker Charlie Freak, because in this day and age, to tell the truth, you're a nut. You're a kook. You're a freak, Charlie. Burning the lies, char the lies. You have to be a freak. So, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, it works perfectly, and there's all these things coming from it. Freakville, Freakopedia. It's freakishly full. I mean, it has its own life now. You know?
It's totally that father fire energy. That's why for the tetragrammaton, I made the Yah, the father fire. And that's actually chose the straw man name to be Ember, because Ember is my straw man name, and I designed it to burn itself and consume itself. And the tree of life, the root is Ember and the crown is Amber. And so it's about that ascension in the Kabbalistic tree of life. And I'm kind of using that as like a performance piece, as a part of my life's work of art, to reflect back to people, you know, the own mesmerism that they've been entangled in. And I want to say honor to choosing the fire, Charlie, because a lot of people don't know this, but the fire is the only element that can never be corrupted. You can pollute the air, you can poison the water, you can dump stuff in the earth, but the fire is the pure fire. It can never be tainted. And in one of my songs on my SoundCloud, I talk about that element of fire. That's why I love the fire. And that's why I honor the fire in you, brother, and you too, sister. You know, we are all that beautiful, unique articulation of the tetragrammaton. And I love the feeling of exciting beginnings. I know this journey has been going on for a while, but it really feels like we're starting to dig into traction of what is the nature of the work in all aspects, not just the diet, but the philosophy, the art, the music, and how can we, you know, really create and cultivate a culture that honors who we truly are. And like Marie so adequately said, reflects our self-worth. Nothing made me feel more worthy. So if you're having problems with self-worth, we've all been there. And give yourself the devotion of that juice feast. Give yourself the biophotons that make you feel connected to all things. And like John Rose says, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, guys. Love you all so much.
So much love.
So much love. I'm going to stop the live if you guys want to hang for another minute, but wow. We love all of you guys in the chat. I know, Charlie, you've been on all day, so if you need to adios, that's fine. Or stay with us for a few minutes. We'd love to have you. And everybody, we love you, we love you, we love you, and we'll see you very, very soon. I think the next show is Sunday night with the music Decode on Justin's channel.
And remember, somebody just quickly put out Lucy in the Sky with diamonds. Remember, Lucy is lose, which is light in the sky with diamonds, diamond light, which is the mother raising the child. So Lucy in the Sky with diamonds is the Kundalini rising, is the Mother Mary raising Jesus through the pineal gland up into heaven upon earth. Lucy in the Sky with diamonds. No, it's about drugs or something evil, and they were the Kundalini rising.
So much.
That's so great. That's so great, Charlie, because I honestly, I could do a whole show on reclaiming symbolism that they have made you fear. And because that symbolism reflects you, you fear yourself. I would love to go deeper on that subject sometime, like the whole 33, Illuminati. Wow. A lot of that, you know, the pentagram, your body's a pentagram. Like you're literally being afraid of yourself. Man, it's so true.
Yeah, anytime, because that's kind of what we've done for 3 years is when Colleen and I started, it was like we were the only ones, and everyone was just saying, no, you guys are out to lunch. It's like, nope, no, they're the left brain. They have no creativity. Believe me, they haven't invented anything. All they do is they pollute the perfect creation of God. So that's it. Sorry, but that's the truth.
And, you know, you got to know it so you can know the other. Keep going, get to the other side of it. That's what this whole movement is about. And that's what it's been about for me. Oh, here we go. Up,
Totally.
and away.
And when you guys keep on saying diamond, I'm thinking of how, like, you know, it goes back to two again. Diamond. Mon is like the man. So it's like the two man, the Dios, diamond. I just want to deep thanks for everyone who's tuned in today. If you want to get in touch, the first link should take you to the blog post. That's the outline for what we just went through. Go to the very bottom. You can email me. I'd really, really love to be involved and to start building a tribe, and to continue building a tribe because it's already seeded. Oh, so beautiful. Wow. Diamond cross. That is like the coolest thing you could have shown right now. That is amazing, Marie. Oh my goddess. So great. So great. Yeah.
Hey guys, how about all those videos we've been showing on the show of all those big rock stars, millionaires, making all those great rock and roll songs, and there they are on stage, all wearing their crosses, all singing their hearts out about Jesus Christ. How beautiful is that, right? Incredible. Just in plain sight. So much love for this truth, because this is the thing that everyone needs to recognize. There's nothing else. Why is the Bible the most important? It'll never fall out of its worth or value, because it's the only thing that all that exists is God, or the absence of God, and that's it. And so everything is this one story, which is we've been lied to, tricked from birth to forget everything that we knew, and now we have to journey back, and that's it. So all that exists is God. There are no problems in the world. All you have to do is learn to let go of their insanity. That's all it is. It's just insanity, and it engulfs you. It engulfs you because it's insane, and there's an insane part of you, which is that island within the canals of Venice, which is inside of your head. Get out of there. It's a temporal field, temporary, transverse waves, an ocean wave. You'll be lost in the sand and the foam until God breathes life upon you again, and you begin to oscillate again. There's a beauty in that, but that's not what you're here for. You're here to come home, the prodigal son and the prodigal daughter. There's only one story because there's only one thing, God. Therefore, there's only one answer. With that show that I was on today with Al Bradley and Pastor Henry Hildebrand, it's what we just talked about. It's so simple. There's only one answer to this, and that is us getting back to God. And what did Jesus Christ say? I am the way. You don't get to the Father but through me. But then what else did he say? But you will do greater things than I, because I of myself can do nothing. Wow, the guy was just totally switched on. Remembrancer, totally switched on, and he's teaching us about the tree of Christ today. There's one story, there's one truth. There's not, I've got my own truth. No, there's one story and one truth. Sorry, and it's not my truth. It isn't. Whatever that looks like, that's where I'll go. Because that's what I'm interested in is the truth. And that's what we found, is that the truth is God. Of course it is. He's the creator. He created all. So of course he's the truth, because his creation is what is, which is the truth. It's that simple. It's so simple. Turn away from everything that bugs you in life, everything that makes you itch and scratch and twist and turn. Run away from it as fast as you can. There's no sin in that at all. Turn away from what works against you and turn to what works for you. And as Remembrancer just demonstrated, there's nothing that works for you better than the Father, the Mother, and the child. This Christed energy rising, it's everything. So simple it is, but you just have to do work.
Charlie, when and where can people watch the video you just created today earlier?
She usually puts her videos up the next day, so probably, so that would just be just on YouTube. Just search ELLE Bradley, L Bradley, and you'll find her, and you'll find her shows, and usually the next day she has it up. So it was a great show. I really love and respect Pastor Henry Hildebrand. It was great because listening to him today, he was just going so far from the literalization of the Bible and into the spiritual realm. And he was just so. Elle asked Henry today that, do you think that we are in a messianic era right now, a messianic state of consciousness? And he asked her to explain it, and she did. And he said, yes. He said, myself and a few other pastors, he said, we've been really, really focusing on the Bible again, and trying to glean everything that's there. And what we sort of agreed upon is that what's being said is not literal, that there won't be a second building of Solomon's temple, that this is a spiritual journey and a spiritual awakening that must exist inside of us. And I was just, yeah, Henry, way to go, man. Yeah, beautiful.
I bet that's so, it's so important to have people in those positions talking like that, It's powerful. Those guys gotta get their rap straight now. They just gotta straighten out their rap. It's all crooked. Yeah. Super duper, guys. We have a diamond cross. We had diamonds. We had the Remembrancer. Boom. Third eyes got blown out. Talked about the sweetness. Had, the whole freak family in the chat going off. There's freaksters. There's all sorts of stuff. Siobhan's calling us freaksters. I love that one. That was a good one. That was good. So much love, I think that's what's so much fun about all of this. I'm in the business of love, and then I get out of the business of love and learn all about what love is.
Yeah, and you just get into the isness of Remembrancer, the isness. And that's the only currency that is isness. That's what inspired Siobhan to write that incredible song. And it is incredible because she resonated with the activated vessel of Remembrancer, the ember to the amber, and that is the phoenix. Like a phoenix, I have risen from the grave, like a phoenix. Ember to amber.
I'm going up north. I'm going to go to the mountains tomorrow, and we're going to have some campfires. And tomorrow's my born day.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited. I need some fire. We can pick you up on the way.
Oh my goodness, it is. This is the 4th. Yeah, the 5th.
The 5th, March the 5th, little Pisces friend. But I can't, I just really want to sit in front of a fire for a few hours and just stare at it and let it just, just do its magic. I love the fire. Smell it, just get it all smoky. And I don't know if you hear the kids splashing away, but I'm going to mute myself.
It's really interesting because you're turning 41, correct? Right, Marie? Yeah, so that adds to 5, which Charlie was talking about, is the crucifixion. And it's also interesting because the 7 chakras develop in 7-year cycles. And so this is the last year of your ajna, which is also like the Jesus chakra, the Jesus. This is Jupiter Zeus. And so you're in this final year of developing this chakra of awareness, which is so perfectly embodied in what you're doing right now. And, just like a DVD, if that ever gets a scratch, when you try to replay it, there's less light there. So it's going to skip because that's a lesson. There's less sun there in the information. And so this is a great, final year for continuing to culminate your awareness so that, when you're coming back around again, you know, the next, when the 7-year cycle reaches back up to here, then you know, that awareness will be that much more sweeter. So super happy reborn day to you, sis star. May it be stellar and full of beautiful, purifying inspirations from the fire. And may your fires be purified as you continue to share in this act of creation and stepping into your goddesshood. Much honor.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's such a privilege. You don't know, I just feel so privileged. I don't know how this happened. I just feel so honored to be in this level of company right now. And it's just like, yeah, it's a dream come true. I didn't even know it was a dream I had, but it certainly is wonderful to be just in this field. It's just so much fun in here. I love to play around in this field of unified love. Just run around. Woo! We're all like, woo! And it's like so different than all the other, you know, communities I've been a part of. Like, it just feels very, I think as we pass through portals together, we know the darkness, we know all of the things. That's why it's even so much more important to live in the light and to be the light and to be the way, like, because we've acknowledged all of that and we're still acknowledging that and diving into it and knowing that it can't taint us or touch us ultimately. That's really powerful for me. Please, Charlie.
Just again, you bring up another great point, and just to empower everyone, just remember, if you still have bad dreams and you don't want to have bad dreams anymore, live your day in service to God and God's creation, and you won't have any bad dreams anymore. Do you suffer from you know, sort of random, really negative thoughts jumping into your mind from time to time, and they kind of just hijack your day because they remind you of something? You want those to go away? Just live your day in the light of God and service to God and God's creation. You can't sleep well at night, and you'd really like a good night's good night's sleep. Then live your day in the light of God. Live your day in service to God and God's creation. Like, I'm not kidding. Everything goes away. There's no pill ever that you need to take. That's like when I did the 2-hour video on meditation. The first 90 minutes of that video are all about becoming righteous. It's the way. If you become righteous, you can't have bad dreams. You can't have random thoughts pop into your head that just destroy the state of grace that you were in. You can't have crappy sleeps or whatever. You sleep like a baby because you're being comforted, held by God in the bow. So it all comes back to you. What you do, again, the rewards that you experience are perfect. They're always perfect, in a perfect alignment with your actions. So do righteous actions. Become righteous. You don't want any more health problems, pain, suffering. Become righteous. It all goes away. I promise you, it all goes away. And all you have to do is live in God's light. Be the light of this world.
100%. So powerful. Thank you for telling us that. You know, it's true, because it's true, and it does. It's all falling away. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down. Yeah, amazing. You're like, we've been breaking out in song today. It was just, living righteous is so true. It's like, I see, you know, it's like the thoughts, what you were saying, Amber, when you said that prayer earlier, like I started to see like all sorts of cool crystalline things going on and like reorganization. You too? Yeah, it was really potent. That was some power stuff, brother. I'd like to hear that again sometime. That was an activation in and of itself. Yeah.
Honored.
But it's a restructuring of things. And if you keep doing it, like if the thought comes and you deny its power over you and you come back to the light, boom, that's what has the power. So awesome. I mean, I've had so many last 3 days. I can't wait to get into it deeper with you at some point, Amber, but so much stuff going on. And it really is true. Is you just keep asking. God can't take from us what we're unwilling to give up. So it's like, if we're not willing to ask for support or to, go to God, then he's not going to interfere. That's what you wanted. That's what you get, So it really is about wanting something better and higher and more, something that reflects who you truly are, It's very potent stuff, this whole thing. And what you're doing, Amber, right now is so powerful because it's grounding this in. It's like, no, this is real. And it's not something out here anymore. It's something we're kind of reaching outside. It's like, no. It's inside. And we gotta sit still, and we gotta let go of our possessions. We gotta let go of all of the things that keep us tied to the material world. So we can see and we can be that which we are. And it's all of it. It's intellectual, it's spiritual, it's emotional, and it's physical. It's all of it. It's not just, okay, I'm gonna work on my physical and F everything else, or I'm just gonna be spiritual, my body's not real, I'm just gonna pollute it, forget it. No, we've all chosen different aspects. This is a whole integration. It's the wholeness, right? It's not the piece. You said that to me. I was something about peace. I don't want a piece, I want the whole. I love that. We want all of it, and we deserve all of it. That's our inheritance. That's God's kingdom. That's what we were designed for. So go us. Go us. And thank God that he brought us all together this way. This is so miraculous. This whole, structuring of beings, and right now, it's really beautiful. I have a happy birthday message from Ruby. I love you, I love you, I love you. I mean, seriously, how did I get so lucky with a precious gem in my house?
Oh my God, that's so cute.
Love you. Seriously. I mean, I even told you a story about like what me having children is a miracle. I have 2 angels. Tell me.
Yeah, sister, I'm honored to build with you on any topic, anytime. This is truly a divine privilege and honor. And I really do know that it's going to take art to kind of lead this, because art can pack in such a density of information. Is it? Am I on?
Oh,
wait.
I think I'm trying to go.
Did we drop?
No, we're good.
Oh, we're good. Okay, yeah. Art packs in so much information. I think this is actually why you're catching on so quick, is because you're very beautiful. And beauty itself has a gnosis woven within it. There's something about beauty that compresses wisdom and information that can be unpacked over time. You're like, oh, that's why I'm attracted to that. Like, that's why I like this ratio. Like even, we say people are fine because they have a lot of phi. They have a lot of phi ratio, so they're fine. And it's like, all right, well then now we learn about, what is the phi ratio. And so as we create art and music that encodes a lot of this Christic vibration, it's going to lead people from their intuition and their knowingness that something is greater, that they are worthy. Because a lot of people, you can't tell them, you have to show them. And so the music and the art, like that is really where I want to put a lot of my weight with my life from this point on. So yeah, I'm honored to be doing this build and to share this with you. Like, I think we're a very, very small percentage of people in the realm who even know about Christic geometry. So as we can help seed and explore that and share that, like that will be something that really unites the tribe of Christ that's coming together.
Yeah. And I love that too. I mean, anytime you play your music, I'm like, yay, sit around the campfire, let's have some music. And I just noticed that our screen is going back and forth. Hey, give me back hosting real quick and we'll finish the show. We'll say bye to our friends and then we'll stay on a little bit because I want to chat with you for just another minute if you have one. Sun's going to set here. You guys are so amazing. All of you guys in the chat and those of you that are still watching. I mean, it's always incredible to me. how many people around the planet love to sit with us too for long amounts of time, or just like to sit in these types of containers and just kind of talk about the things that we're talking about in here. It is very encouraging. And even though it, might seem like, oh my gosh, there's only 100 people here, this is just the beginning of incredible things. I mean, we haven't even had any level of like massive disclosure yet. So, just think about how this is all going to unfold. I mean, I don't even know, but I just know that we're going to be called upon in really, really big ways. And that's why we're all cleaning up our diets right now. And that's why we're all listening to these types of conversations, getting ready, because this is the beginning of something so extraordinary and so beautiful. Plans that have been in place for a long time actually coming to fruition. It's such a gift. And we got tapped. And those of you in the chat and in the live, you got tapped too. And this is a movement. It's so funny. I just realized that the live was like taking us back and forth. So I'm just going to take it as a sign to finish the live, and I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes. But I love you guys so much. Amber loves you so much. This guy is, go ahead, honey.
Always in love, love in all ways.
Totally. I love that line. And the truth is true always and in all ways. Right? Truth is true. Truth is true. And we love you. And we wish you a beautiful rest of the day, night, wherever you are on the planet. And we look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Bye for now. Okay.